go. They're not going to use the timeout. Plenty of time here.
It's Tatum. Robinson's on him. Tatum maneuvering. Oh, the ball knocked away. Another great defensive play for the Knicks. They've got it. They've won it. New York has gone up 2-0. And defense again at the end.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. Unlike Joe Mazzulla, we will use plenty of timeouts throughout the show today. Much to the chagrin of Dylan, we won't use them at the correct time, but we will use timeouts today. We will not leave this show with a timeout left to use.
Still better than Joe.
I actually get the thought process that he said that, we call a timeout, they sub out Jalen Brunson. Okay. Then attack Jalen Brunson. I don't know. I get the point in theory, but then why did you not then go at who Jalen Brunson was guarding or try to get a screen and roll to get him to switch? Since he's such a defensive liability, you won't call a timeout to move the ball up to half court, and essentially you say you run the same play that you just ran a possession earlier that worked out, but they played it better defensively this time. Oh, so they adjusted? So they saw the same thing that you ran last time, now they just adjusted and they played better defense this go around, and Michael Bridges has been one of the better players in this series. Like Jalen Brunson gets the shine, deservedly so, right? But Bridges has been so good and such an underrated player. And look, if he calls a timeout and they don't get a shot, or they don't make they had a timeout and they didn't get the shot the first game when Jaylen Brown had the ball stolen from him. So, call a timeout, don't call a timeout. Regardless, the result is the same. They have back-to-back games where they don't get a shot off in the final possession.
And they also had like a big lead.
Yeah, back-to-back 20-point games, 20-point leads.
Yeah.
What is that? What's going on? You over there?
Oh, sorry. I'm the Celtics. I'm joking.
Oh, I see what happened there.
Yeah.
That downtrodden, the poor city of Boston. They just never win anything.
The mean streets of Boston, as Eminem once said about Ray Benzino.
Yeah.
It's a fun diss track. Sterling, you're a big fan of that diss track, right?
Yeah.
That or Ether or Vaseline?
Okay, Ether.
Which one was your favorite?
Nas.
No Vaseline, Ether, or Eminem and Ray Benzino?
Ether by Not. Nas.
Ether was pretty legit. It was pretty awesome.
You thought I wasn't going to know this, did you?
I am actually pretty surprised by this, quite frankly. No Vaseline was like the no holds bar. I am Katie bar the door. Damn the torpedoes.
Yeah.
I'm throwing. We are airing all the dirty laundry of NWA right here. We let it all go.
I still.
Gosh darn! I'm glad y'all set it off. Used to be hard. Now you're just wet and soft.
50 Cent when he came back was pretty badass though.
Sure.
I got shot.
Yeah, I'm saying a diss track at specific people.
That was a specific person.
I guess, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I got shot like they got shot.
Yeah.
I must be here for a real reason.
Think of a much more recent example of what Jason's talking about, which is Kendrick. But
yeah, no, right. That's
probably the closest recent.
Right. That was a complete and total
this era
domination, destroy, a prolonged embarrassment.
Right.
Song after song after song, and then
social media helped.
And what is also social media helps, but what's become a cultural song now.
Yes.
That is a diss track.
A Super Bowl halftime performance song.
Ether and No Vaseline weren't exactly being played at halftime of Super Bowls or being used as like walk-up songs in baseball. So,
true.
It's a little. Kendrick probably has the final say. In
Take
that one.
social media out of this. There's been walk-up songs for a long time now. I still hear, was it Green Onions?
Yes, right. They've had walk-up songs for a long time, and I don't remember No Vaseline or Ether being. Maybe there was
Ether.
Maybe Ether. That was
Ether.
pretty legit. Like, well, you'd have to take out the
a couple
F
words.
Yes.
A couple words.
I bleep with your soul like ether. Think you the king? No, you're not. Noss it across the belly. I'll prove you lost already. That's a pretty decent walk-up. You know, it's a pretty decent walk-up. The White Sox lost yet again last night, which means, Sterling, that the Royals won. They are now 14-2 in their last 16 games, and it got a little nip-tuck last night because, you know, a couple of hard-hit balls there in the ninth inning. And to me, even if they were to lose that game last night, the story would not have been, in my estimation, Carlos Estevez. It would have been the offense, you know, score more than 2 runs. But they didn't need more than 2 runs. They only needed 2 runs because on Tuesday night, the story of that game was the Keystone Cops, Benny Hill defense that they played, the White Sox, while the Royals in the ninth inning played high-end defense. You had back-to-back games that was a 1-run game. The losing team the night before played terrible defense in 1 inning. The winning team the next night had 2 magnificent plays. Both of them saved the game from being tied. Now, would the Royals have gone on to win in the bottom of the ninth? Maybe. You know, maybe they would have. But we don't have to ask the question. Well, we don't have to know what the answer would be or not. We can ask the question and not know the real answer because Drew Waters made a really good play in left field. Now, Luis Robert could have got out of the box a little quicker. He watched to see if it was a fair ball first for some reason and then took off. And by the time he rounded first thinking, I'm going to second, Waters already had the ball because it was a direct line. That is, by the way, that is not easy to do. You know how fast that ball is rolling? You know how easy that ball can bounce off the wall a different way? That was like a pool shot, like playing billiards. That ball bounced off the wall. He took a direct route to when the ball would bounce to where it was going to ricochet right to him.
Yeah.
He's running as fast as he can. The ball is traveling, rolling towards a wall, and he's got to time that up. That is not an easy play to get there. Again, it took Luis Robert watching to see if it was fair at first and then taking off. But if he misplays that, if he Hunter Renfroes that, the next at bat's a single into right field. It's a tie game.
I thought they were playing no doubles. It got back into the infield so quickly. I was like, oh, okay, they had no doubles on. But no, he basically just played it perfect.
It was a perfect play. And then to see Bobby Witt, his play up the middle, that also kept Luis Robert from scoring. If either of those plays aren't made, it's a 2-2 game.
What was funny was the Bobby Witt Jr. play was very reminiscent of the play of the White Sox last night.
Yep.
The one that didn't get made because Bobby didn't panic. And great job by Michael Massey. I think that's a little underrated of not only being there, but trying to
playing it like a first baseman.
Yeah, playing like a first baseman and getting to the bag.
You're getting the out you know you can get.
Yeah, but
the only one you can get.
And the bare hand, I know it's silly and people might like why he had to use his bare hand based on where the ball was thrown. I know Major Leaguer, you should get that, but in that moment, just having the wherewithal to not panic. And I just overall, you saw the White Sox collapse last night on a very similar play, while the Royals had their composure and they were able to make that play. Although I will give the first baseman for the White Sox a lot of credit. Vargas, he kept his composure somehow while getting drilled in the shin with a broken bat.
That wasn't, that was fine. It might have been a little overplay, but whatever.
Glanced in the shin off a broken
Glanced in the shin that he played up as if like he had just been stabbed in the my God.
I do think it would
he has hit a ball off his foot harder than that barrel hit his leg, and I guarantee you he didn't lay on the ground in the batter's box or right outside the batter's box after hitting a ball off his foot or his leg in a foul ball. Every single player at that level has hit a foul ball off their leg or foot. That hurts. That smarts pretty bad. Anyway, regardless, he did. You're right from that standpoint. But from Michael Massey's point, Michael Massey's taking a route to the ball.
Yeah.
And then he can see that Bobby is going to make the play, and then he diverts his route to go over to second and to make the play there. And it's instinctual, but it's also guys that have played together for a while. And that's kind of the point of what I made from 2 nights ago from Tuesday night that we were talking with Les Norman that in the ninth inning, 5 guys were playing a different position than they had played in the game. Bobby and Massey have played how many innings together at short and second? I'm asking the question. I don't need an answer. We all know it's a lot. It's sort of rhetorical. They've played so many innings together. They have a feel for each other. How many times has Massey running to his right, fielded the ball, tossed it to Bobby, and Bobby make the throw? Like, those guys working together are awesome. And that's why I don't need Michael Garcia playing second. Now, he's not playing second when Massey's in the lineup, but still, last night the Royals had probably their best defender in left, their best left fielder on the team that they have, and their best second baseman on the team that they have, and obviously the best shortstop, make plays in the ninth inning. Because if India's in left field, I think Roberts at second.
Oh, agreed.
If India's at second, well, I don't know. I don't know if India would have if Garcia would have made the play. I don't know. I'm not going to count that. Well, let's just go to second. Let's just go to left field.
Yeah.
If India or MJ or whoever is in left field, I think Luis Robert is at second, and the next hit to right field scores Luis Robert.
Agreed.
And so it's a tie game, 2-2. And Michael Walk on my fantasy team gets cost a win. That would be that would suck for me. Whatever. But it didn't happen because defense was played last night, and it's such an underrated part of this team, of baseball. Not even just this team, because we talked about it last year. One of the reasons why one of the reasons why the pitching staff was so good was the defense was so good. But also the defense was so good because the pitching staff was so good, and it built off each other. And I don't know if it is a correlation causation that teams with bad pitching staffs also play bad defense, because we can see analytically now whether they're playing good defense or not from an analytical standpoint. You've got the fielding, independent pitching,
which is great to use, and
you've got all of that stuff. And so I bring that up because it's like a juxtaposition of a team that they played over the weekend, and they won 2 of 3. They hit a bunch of home runs, but the Orioles are one of the worst defensive teams in baseball. Gunnar Henderson is a -3. Outs above average this year at shortstop. Like, they are not. They have one player who's in the positive this year out of any of their defenders, and that's Ryan Mountcastle at first.
Oh, wow.
Is the only defender.
I was going to say maybe Cedric Mullins.
No, Cedric Mullins is negative. And that's sort of is the defense so bad because the pitching's bad, or does it go to hand in hand? Or they just aren't a very good defensive team overall from pitching and fielding it, and they can't hit enough to be more than 7 games under 500 because of their, because of 2/3 of the hitting, pitching, fielding has been so substandard, and their GM refuses to trade some of their stockpiled resources of assets for an arm like a Crochet or a Dylan Cease, or make the Tigers say no for Tariq Skubal.
Yeah.
Throw so much at him that they have to go, really? I guess we can't say no to this package of players. Sorry, Tariq. You are now a Baltimore Oriole. All right, Crochet, you're now a Baltimore Oriole. Max Fried. No, let's go get Charlie Morton and Kyle Gibson in the offseason. There are different ways of running an organization, and they sucked for so long, and they stockpiled all of these different assets. And they have done nothing with them.
And they've hit on a lot of them, too.
Right. And they've done nothing with them except put them out there, play bad defense, have terrible pitching, and not hit enough to go and win games. They're 0-5 in the playoffs with this collective group since, post-tanking for 3 years.
Yeah.
Post-100-loss seasons for 3 years in a row. Whereas the Royals had their rough go of it. J.J. Piccolo and John Sherman in Kansas City, not Baltimore. I don't care what you say about. I'm tired of the small market. Oh, Houston Astros are a small market team. The hell they are.
It's the 5th largest city, or
it's the third. It's the third
Top
largest media market.
That's what it is. Yeah, top.
And Baltimore is not a small market. So stop with the Orioles are a small market team. In what world? They're not a small market. Baltimore's a bigger market. So stop complaining about that when you've got the Royals that go and trade for Cole Reagans. They gave up Aroldis Chapman for Cole Reagans. The Orioles won't give up legit pieces for a proven legit player. They won't do that. The Royals gave up Aroldis Chapman and got Cole Reagans because they were smarter than other teams. They signed Seth Lugo, not Kyle Gibson.
Yeah.
They signed Michael Wacha, not Charlie Morton. You know, they didn't sign 41-year-old Charlie Morton and go, well, who would have seen this coming? You know, they didn't sign those guys. They went and got Wacha, Lugo, traded for Reagans, traded for Lorenzen, re-signed him,
Yes.
developed pitching along the way, and the defense is really, really good. Along with that, do they hit as well as the Orioles? No, they don't. They score enough, and their pitching is so good, and the defense with Massey and Bobby and Michael Garcia up the middle and the left side. Isbell took some great routes to the ball in center field. We know he can do that.
Yeah.
You know, he's lacking in a number of other areas of his game, but he can do that. And Drew Waters in left field made a phenomenal play, made a phenomenal route, phenomenal play to go get the ball to keep Luis Robert at first base. And it's the smaller reasons. Freddie Fermin 2 bunts the night before.
Yes.
Smaller things as to why this team is winning games where some of the other teams that are, quote, more talented have all of these stockpiles of resources are 7 games under 500, and the Royals are 14-2 in their last 16.
The Orioles tried to Hunter Renfroe their pitching staff. It's basically what it was.
It's a good way to put it.
That's
It's a
more or
great
less
way to put it. Yeah.
the thought process there to me. I have some fun numbers that I think can actually show some positive progression for the Royals and what they're doing run scoring wise. Because I mean they're 3-0 in this series and they've scored 9 runs, right? I mean
They've scored enough. They didn't win 9-0 and then can't score after that.
But I love what the Royals have done, and you're right about the defense of the defensive aspect is huge here. I'm almost glad Estevez had a rough outing because we saw him still able to grind it out and come through. Now it was 2 feet away from not mattering because Rojas hit that changeup that was left middle, barely foul. But again, it was a changeup, so he was out in front. But I'm glad that Estevez was able to have a grinded out sort of.
But it wasn't a mistake though because it wasn't hit over the wall.
Yeah, it
So
wasn't a mistake.
definitely
It wasn't a mistake. But
just like the one
middle.
just like the one that Rex brought up, the slider that was hung,
Yes.
and Andrew Vaughn fouled it off, and Rex he got away with one there. But it's not a mistake though because he fouled it off.
Carlos got away with a lot in this one.
He didn't have his good stuff, but they won the game.
But he was able to at least again grind it out. I
Yeah.
was a little surprised they pulled Wacha after 7.
I was fine with it because you had guys, and we can hear Matt Quacher in the next segment talk about that. I was okay with that because I'll throw Urseg and Estevez out there up 2-0 and feel pretty good about getting 6 outs.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Just the way that Wacha was pitching, I wouldn't have mind seeing him go. And if he struggles in the 8th, then maybe I go to Ursig there. Just with the way, and again, this is probably revisionist, but the amount of innings that Estevez and the amount of games he's played in recently, I didn't know if it would be an off day for him. So that was kind of my thought process.
Might be an
here.
off day today for him.
It would be, I would assume so.
And maybe that's the way that Q was approaching it and saying, I'll worry about tomorrow. Wacha's pitched brilliantly. He's got 84 pitches. We got an opportunity to get him out after going 7 and still conserve some of his pitches on his arm for the long haul. We got Urseg there, rested. We got Estevez. We feel pretty good. Let's do that. And we'll worry about tomorrow with Estevez.
Sure. Bobby Witt Jr., by the way, just hitting that inside sinker was insane. That's 92 on the hands. I don't know how many people – that's a broken bat, I think, for a third of the league. A third of the league is a pop-up, and the other third is a ground out. And Bobby Witt didn't even get it all as Rex got – I mean, I love Rex.
It didn't sound like Michael Garcia's sound. Little Man and I were driving from baseball practice, and we're listening, and Garcia's up and I go, go ball.
Yeah.
Eisenberg hadn't said a word yet.
It was close.
and I heard it. I was like, oh, go ball. Someone was like, what? I'm like, did you not hear that? Like, that was solid. I didn't even see it, but I knew that he got all of it.
23 ballparks that's out in.
Yeah,
that's
right.
It said 23.
And a couple degree launch angle higher, it's out in. But it hits
great swing, by the way, though.
Absolutely, yes, it hits the wall. But to your point, Bobby's swing, if I'm driving around and listening, I would not have thought home run hearing it.
I would have thought maybe it's getting to left field, but he's just so
he
darn
generates so much power.
Strong, the torque.
Yes.
And I love that Rex just kept bringing that up. Just very, very impressive. And by the way, the reason why I said there's little optimism of the Royals offense getting things back on track. Because I think we can all agree they're starting to at least get more singles, hit the ball more. Their walk and strikeout rates have been improving in the past couple weeks. Now, is it the White Sox? Well, the White Sox actually have a decent pitching staff. It's just the hitting and defense that's their issue. Their pitching's okay. The Royals with runners in scoring position this year, they're batting .220. That is 27th out of 30 teams this year. Last year, they were second in baseball, batting .285. We knew that was not sustainable. We knew there was going to be some regression. But it was almost like the Vikings was a couple of years ago when they won every single one-score game, then lost every single one. Like, at times, it'll even out. I don't expect them to be at .220 with runners in scoring position. If they can get to that .250 mark, or around 17, that's Houston right now. I think the offense looks a lot different. They scored 9 runs, again, in this series so far. They're 3-0, lucky a little bit. They got 10 hits. They're starting to put the ball in play. They're starting to hit the ball harder. Vinny's starting to really turn things around. I just think that once runners in scoring position, those numbers improve. Because Bobby, we even talked about it. He struggled with runners in scoring position overall. I think this offense is going to take – it's not going to be amazing. It's not the Dodgers. It's not the Yankees. But if they can be around 12 to 18, which I think is a realistic possibility with this pitching staff, with this defense, this is a 90-win team.
Let's hear from Bobby Witt last night before we go to break. It's clip number 2, and Bobby talked about, what this pitching staff is doing this year, and it's just a carryover from last year. I mean, what J.J. Piccolo was put together in just a couple of years from Jordan Lyles and Zach Greinke, and, relying on Daniel Lynch and guys that, are not relied upon to that degree. Bubic, a couple of years ago in 2023, was relied upon until the Tommy John surgery, to what you have now with the bullpen combination. So it's a continuation of last year, but Bobby Witt, in his answer and a couple of follow-ups, started off just talking about how good it is to play behind this Royals pitching staff.
It's unbelievable, and I'll keep saying it, that we got pretty much 5 aces, 5 horses out there throwing, but just to see what he's been doing and just how consistent he is and just how every one of our guys are, it's incredible. And just the work they put in and just the camaraderie they have with each other and just how they're always in game, just talking about stuff when they're not pitching, when they're pitching, just figuring out what sequences they want to do, and then just what he's done has been throughout his whole entire career. I think he's, his 1,500 inning tonight or whatever it was, and so it's just incredible just to see, and he's just getting after it.
Kind of the rotation as a whole, I just wondered, as a defender and as a hitter, what that is like going out there every night, knowing what you said about this rotation.
Yeah, it fires you up, really. It's just, you just got to do your job, get a couple runs, and then we're in a good spot just because of just how they work and just how they do things. It's just really, really special.
Can you reconstruct your play in the ninth inning?
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure to keep the ball in the infield, and then I saw Massey. It's almost like kind of muscle memory at that point, just knowing where he's at, knowing where I'm at, and just put up the middle a lot now. And so we just kind of just know where each other are, and so I just kind of knew he was going to be there, and so yeah.
Yeah, the as he pointed out, Michael Wacha, his 1500th inning. I'll figure out where the goes eventually. His 1500, 1,50. But yeah, that was the 7th inning. Took him out after that, so he's at exactly 1,500 right now innings for his big league career. First time he's gone 7 innings this year. He does have 8 starts this year, which is the most in Major League Baseball, tied with other pitchers. But again, it's he had the 3rd most starts of his entire career last year with 29, and right now he's got 8. So that's 37 starts out of
probably
41. He would have had. So 37 out of 41 starts that Michael Wacha has made since joining the Royals, and the 2nd most innings pitched last year of his career was last year as a 32-year-old, and now as a 33-year-old, he's looked like this the last 2 games against the Orioles. It's why it's against the White Sox. Yeah, he also shoved against the Orioles too, and did it last night against the White Sox, and he looks like he's rounding into form. But yeah, 1,500 innings for Michael Wacha, and as Bobby said, it's unbelievable what this pitching staff is doing. 5 horses every night, and that play, I just wanted to keep it on the infield, and then muscle memory and instinct took over at that point to toss it to Massey.
I don't know how anyone hits Michael Wacha's changeup. It looks like a screwball. I mean, last night, I know the White Sox at times actually did a decent job of laying off it when it was down down and in.
It comes out like a Frisbee rotation.
But my mind is blown. Every time he throws that changeup, I have no idea. Yeah, here we go. Guys are batting .204 against it. slugging 286 against it. You just can't square it up. Even if you're hitting it, it's going to be a single. Like that changeup is just so difficult to get anything on. Anytime I watch it, it's like Devin Williams when he was on with like Milwaukee.
Yeah.
The changeup is very similar.
Hey, Dylan, before we go to break, how easy is it for a pitcher to get that pronation change-up rotation that Waka does where the ball comes out almost like a Frisbee, spinning like Saturn?
It's insane to watch. Like,
how?
A typical circle change is the most common, I would say, like of change-ups, and that's not what that does. That is not. I don't even know how you make that happen.
Just like so much pronation to get that off like your ring and your pinky, and to have it spin.
It hurts my elbow to
that.
watch it happen.
It's unbelievable, man. I guess
His,
that's why he's a major leaguer, and I'm not.
But
Same.
I couldn't even think about doing it. Thinking about it, my elbow hurts, like you just said.
It's what happens.
His changeup run value this year is in the 95th percentile. So there you go.
pretty good.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that would explain.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I do want to hear from Q. We'll hear from Michael Waka and Lucas Erceg, who is just on a dominant stretch right now in his last 8 outings. For Lucas Erceg, he has been essentially unhittable. We'll hear from him as well. I do want to talk about Jack Caglione, the timeline. Buster Olney this morning was talking about that. And then there was a play last night in the Rangers and Red Sox game. Don't look it up. Sterling, you were getting ready. Don't look it up. That I learned a new rule and totally fascinated by this. I would have been wrong, and the internet was wondering why in the heck replay came back and confirmed this ruling as safe or out, because it was pretty obvious by the naked eye. Don't look it up, Sterling.
I'm not looking.
We'll talk about that as well. More Zone coming up next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, I want to get into this. We'll hear from Q and Urseg and Waka, but I do want to get into this ruling last night because it's totally fascinating, and brought it up as we were going to break. Sterling, you didn't look it up, did you? Okay, thank you.
I'm an honest man.
Set the scene for you. Wyatt Langford for the Rangers is at the plate. Tanner Houck is pitching for the Red Sox. Langford hits the ball. Houck fields it. Langford's running down to first base. Houck throws the ball. First baseman fields it but drops it. Langford runs over first base, does not touch it. First baseman for the Red Sox picks the ball up, steps on first. Safe. Hold on. How? So, the Red Sox ask for a review. He did not touch first base.
Seems sensible.
Review. They review it. Clearly didn't touch first base by like a couple of feet to the left. Didn't touch first base. They come back. Call is confirmed. Safe at first base.
Whoa.
And it was the right ruling. Based on the Major League Baseball rule, it was the right ruling. Any idea, because I wouldn't have guessed this, Sterling, so I'm not calling you, saying that, well, you're dumb if you don't know this, because, again, I learned it last night only by seeing it. Any idea why that ended up being the correct ruling as to why Langford was actually safe at first base?
Is first base the only base where you have, as long as you go above it? Like,
nope.
Man.
I thought maybe it was because the first baseman was laying in the baseline as he was trying to get the ball, and Wyatt Langford had to go around him a little bit. But we see collisions all the time with first basemen, and it wasn't Wyatt Langford was not like in the field of play, like he had to dodge the first baseman, so he did go into the field of play only to get around him.
Did he not tag him?
He stepped on first.
Yeah, but he didn't tag him. So that's what it is. Because that would be the equivalent of him turning and going towards. Well, I guess not towards going towards second.
Base.
Yeah, but so he's never. So yeah, he would have had to tag him.
So you're right about that. The reasoning, if I create the scenario that Wyatt Langford hits a double and rounds first and doesn't touch it and goes to second, the first baseman doesn't just step on first.
Yes, that was my point, yeah.
So the Red Sox asked for a review instead of appealing, even with Langford standing on first. They had to go on the mound, on the rubber, step off, throw to first, step on the bag, he's out. They didn't. They asked for a review. They did not appeal. So by him missing first base, it's the same as if he was standing on second and you tagged him.
Yeah.
Because they never actually tagged him. They just stepped on first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he rounded first, didn't step on it, ends up at second, you don't just go over and step on first. It's an out. So it's like it's clear as day. Langford missed first, and they're stepping on the bag. Nope.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. And the ruling is because they asked for a review and they did not appeal over to first base, saying that he missed the bag, even though he returned to that bag.
Yeah.
That's what's fascinating to me, is that he returned to the bag, but them touching the bag before he returned would allow them to appeal it because he returned to said bag. Because if you hit a double and you miss first and get to second and then run back to first and stand there and you're staying at first, you're safe. Because you then, as long as you return second, obviously you got to go back the way that you went, just like tagging up and things like that. But they had to appeal and not ask for a review. And so the review came back, confirmed, he's safe. And also, he's safe because you didn't appeal. Also, you can't appeal now.
Credit to me for understanding that and getting that. I what do you think, Dylan? I think credit to me for nailing that.
I will give you credit, actually.
I'll give you credit.
That was pretty legit. That was pretty good.
Do I become a umpire? I can't call balls and strikes, so I guess I could become an umpire.
You're more like an insider.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I be the new
Peter Gammons or like a Buster Olney?
The new who's the guy that's always in not Tessitore,
What are you talking? Always in what?
He does NBA, college basketball, and football. He does the rules analyst.
Oh, you're talking about Gene Steratore.
Gene Steratore. I'll be the Gene Steratore.
Different Italian, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just
I guess
it's just baseball and football, or basketball and football that he does.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I will be the Gene Steratore of
fine.
baseball.
That works. Yeah. To be an umpire, though, if you're not good, there are some places that you can umpire around town. But if you're going to umpire with home field and PBR, you better be good. Better be pretty good.
Oh, I drink PBR, so I'm good.
You better be pretty good. Now, perfect game, USSSA, 3-2. Maybe you're just out there collecting a check. Maybe. I don't know. But some leagues you better be good or they will not have you. But also, they might pay you to make it worth your while to be out there, which seems like a novel concept. If you pay enough to make it worth their while, you can actually get good ones instead of paying cheap to where people that would take it seriously wouldn't feel like it's worth their while.
I'd take it so seriously. I'd wear a suit.
So then you'd have some people that are just like, it's kind of a part-time job. I could wait tables or do this. Ball, strike, out, safe. I don't really care. It's fine. I got to get home.
Jason wants robot umps for 9U. He really wants.
No. He's
calling for it.
No, I think we need more. It's hard to find good ones at that age. It really is. We need more people that would like to do it. It's just you need better. But how do you get the better umpires is you have to pay to make it like home field and PBR. Like there's some older guys that are umpires that are really good. You know why? Because it's like, well, I can work I'm retired. I can work over here or here, get a part, or I can be around baseball that I know what I'm doing. I've probably been an umpire for a while and doing it is worth my time. Like, would I go out there and umpire? No, because to me, it's not worth the time being away from the kids to do that. But if they paid enough and it was worth the time, hell yeah, I'll get out there.
You know, it'd be fun. We should get behind and try, like behind catchers, and try and figure out who's the best at calling balls and strikes.
Oh, I would love to, man.
That'd be really fun. Dylan, you, me, and Jason.
I did it. That was how we fundraise at JUCO.
Oh, really? Please.
You would do. Awesome. We umpired like a Mid-America like fall league.
So you're gonna be good.
But here's the thing. Good is like different.
Relative.
Were you loud? Did you communicate?
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing. Like you
I was
might
fair, honest, and I communicate.
But here's the thing: you might be wrong on a ball and a strike, but just be like we had a dude the other day that was annoyed when you would ask the count.
Well,
would not clean
I didn't
off.
take it personally.
Would not
That's
clean
the
off the plate.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go and clean off the plate. Annoyed if like looking over like you could see him like it's 2-1. Oh my bad, dude. Did I bother you? I'm sorry.
Jason, he might be having a bad day.
No.
Did you ask him?
No.
Did you ask him if he's having a bad day?
No, because he also sort of bragged about the fact that he's thrown like 10 coaches out. I'm like,
oh, dude,
that might be
those
an issue,
are rookie
dude.
numbers. You got to bump those numbers
It might
up.
be an issue, dude, if you're bragging about that.
Hey.
But just like honestly, like for me, like half the battle is just being vocal. Half the battle is just being vocal. 2-1, 2-2. That's strike. Well, like you don't like just pointing like strike, just be vocal, be assertive.
Let's
even
do this.
if you're wrong, be assertive.
Dylan,
That's all. But I
and
know
also have fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
This guy that you're talking about, you're not.
He was annoyed to be
but
there.
You're not
like I don't
umping.
get it.
This isn't.
I don't get
the
it. Like
bigs.
it's little, but still,
Right.
like I understand that it is difficult for leagues to find people that want to do that
Oh,
because
for sure.
it's become
We were
more
forced to do it
because it's become contentious and
Yeah.
people are like we don't want to.
People will talk about you on radio.
Well, no, I'm not. My only issue is that he wasn't vocal. Like he got a number of things wrong, but that happens in Little League baseball. Those things happen. I just want to know what the call is. Like we want to know what just let us know.
I think
we
it'd
had
be
one
great.
umpire. We had an umpire at league game at Blue Valley. Was unbelievable. He was awesome. I don't know if he got all the balls and strikes right. I have no idea. But he was loud. Everybody knew the count. After every pitch, 2-2. Full count. Nope, outside. 1-0. Nope, that's low. 2-0. Like, this guy's amazing. It looked like it was right down the middle. But he was loud and said, nope, that's low. Good with it. Don't care. Be loud. It was awesome. I'm like, this guy's amazing.
Yeah, so we're going to do this. We're going to
That's
go
all.
to 9U. You guys, we're all going to
10U.
do it. 10U. And we're all going to do this. We're all going to umpire a game, and we'll have people review which one of us were the best. And Dylan goes, he whispered and goes, I'll win.
I did it as a youngster, and I was not good at it because I was not vocal, because I was timid, and I was intimidated by the older coaches and the parents and stuff. I was like 14 years old doing
You
it.
think I'm going to be timid? You think the man with the mustache?
Well,
I don't
yeah,
have a
but-
mustache. I might not be,
But
be
you're
allowed.
30. But you're 30. And I'm in my 40s, so it's a little different now. But
And
I
I
do,
was like, yeah,
I
20,
do understand where, and I do have empathy because I've been there, and I was not vocal because I did not have confidence that I got the call right, and I was worried about if I got the call wrong, somebody was going to
A lot
complain.
of them are summer jobs too.
Right, yeah.
Let's
And
do
so
this. I'm in.
I
I'm
understand it. I
Totally
do.
in doing this.
But my advice would be just be vocal because that's half the battle.
Find a weekend. Let's do this.
I'll give you benefit of the doubt if you're just vocal about that's a ball. All right.
I'm going to toss
Strike.
so many
And be
parents' kids
consistent
out.
too.
Yeah,
Like be
I mean,
consistent.
it's difficult because kids are all over the place. Some
Right.
kids will throw a straight pitch. Some kids throw slower, so it sort of lobs
But
and
if you
it'll
have
float in there.
What
you know.
you're going out there
Yeah.
and set is your strike zone. Whether
Yeah.
it's I'm going to give him a couple. If it hits the dirt a little bit,
Yeah, it's,
whatever.
well, depending on how close they are.
Right.
Yeah.
But at what age too? I was doing
Yeah.
like 8. Whatever their first year of kid pitch was.
Yeah,
So it
9
was like
is supposed to be first year.
like the
kid
strike
pitch.
zone's a little taller.
Unless you're in like
you know.
Texas, then I think first year kid pitch is 4 years old.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or California,
Or
Florida.
California. Yes. Oklahoma, Arkansas.
just
Kid
don't-
pitch 2.
Don't go outside of that, and then there's really nothing you
Yeah.
can do other than that.
Hey,
and if you
Dad.
want to get pissed off,
If
so
you
what?
miss, you're gonna miss some. Like you're gonna miss
Right.
some safe and outs. You're gonna miss some balls and
Yeah,
strikes.
you
It
know,
happens.
No
you
one's
know?
handing out the commissioner's trophy. at these things,
Right.
So we're fine.
Absolutely. Let's
Hey,
just,
Dad, why does the umpire smell of beef cheese and this bourbon smell?
Because he's got a mustache, son. And if you got a mustache, you smell of beef and cheese and bourbon. That's why, son. Because he's weathered,
And
son.
shag carpet.
I am tossing so
that
many
his
kids' parents,
van?
dude. I'm going to the parents. Boom, out of here.
You would be that guy.
You're the guy Jason's describing, basically.
yeah, but no.
But I'll be so good. I'll be
Right.
vocal about it.
Right, that's the thing.
Right.
The only time he got vocal is when he threw the a coach for the other team out. The coach for the other team, by the way, got. We ended up losing the game, and the coach for the other team got tossed from the game. That was the one time you heard what he was saying. Like, whatever, dude. But again, I know it's not easy. Just that's my one advice. Just be loud. But it's not easy to find them either. I totally get it. Unless you pay and you make it worth their while, then you make it find them as well. Who knows? Like I said, Royals won last night, 14-2 over the last 16. That's what I was really getting at. But that ruling was amazing because I was on board with everybody. Like, how is that safe? Like, he picked up the ball and he touched first base. Langford ran past first, did not touch it, did not attempt to go to second. Right? It wasn't he turned left. Okay, Zoolander. He can turn to his left, over his left shoulder. If he stopped running and just turns his left shoulder and walks back to the bag, yeah, that's not how you teach it. But did he make an attempt to start to head to second? That's the difference. But anyway, Langford didn't do that. Overran first base, did not touch it. Stepped on first after he had passed it. Safe. Why? Supposed to appeal. You got to step on the rubber, step off, throw to first, and appeal. Can't just touch the bag. It'd be the same as if he skipped first and was standing on second. Learned it. Now I know. Now I'm going to be I'll be armed with that information.
You're a stickler.
It'll make him an even better umpire when we go do
Right,
this.
exactly.
Jason's
now
not
I
going to
know
start
those
calling
rules.
this out in 10U.
I learned over the weekend about a technicality in the balk rule where you can't throw to an unoccupied base. You actually can. There was a right-handed pitcher that stepped straight to third with a man on second, threw to a crashing third baseman. It's like, well, that's a balk. Umpires didn't call it a balk. Why? Because the man at second was stealing third. You can throw to an unoccupied base if it's to make a play on a runner. So, if that runner starts for third and you pick up your leg, even if you don't do the inside-out move and go to second, you can throw straight to third. I've always thought that was a balk. You've got to do the inside-out, step off the rubber, and then run after him, throw to third. You can just throw to third if you want to. Found that out this weekend. How about that, Sterling? You didn't know that one, dummy. You know the people that know that one? That don't have mustaches. Actually, this umpire had a pretty nice one. Wrapping up this hour, we'll talk a lot of football as we continue to roll along. I still want to hear from Q and Egg and Waka. Be Urs Egg. You know what he's throwing up there? Goose eggs. Urs Egg, more like goose egg, am I right? Huh? Royals 14-2 in their last 16. Also Buster Olney this morning on with New Day. Brought up something about the timeline with Jack Caglione.
Be
Cags.
still my beating heart.
Yeah, it needs to.
Can't believe they did it with Steven gone though.
Right.
Of all the days.
Well, Nate was told if you ever want to be on the radio again, you will talk about Jack Caglione with Buster.
Fair point.
For Steven. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels heading up until 2 o'clock the next 3 hours. We still got you. Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. Talking some Chiefs football here. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast joining us here in the zone on a Thursday. Matt, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good here. We're coming out of rookie mini camp, so we're about to get into the dark time of football where not a lot is happening, but that's okay. We'll make it through. We'll fight through this, and I'm trying to focus on some NBA playoffs in the meantime, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess we can certainly do that. We're focusing on some baseball around here, too, while doing that, but also analyzing and still looking at and breaking down the draft, the offseason for the Chiefs, and moving forward. I want to talk wide receiver with you here for just a little bit, but one of the things I wanted to start off and talk to you about is something that does not relate directly with the Chiefs, but the Dallas Cowboys make a trade for George Pickens, and they give up a third-rounder to bring in George Pickens. It's odd because the Cowboys are saying, while we gave up this draft pick, we're not going to sign him. We're going to let him play, and then we'll analyze it from that standpoint. So, there is certainly a case where, or at least a scenario where they gave up a third rounder for 1 year of George Pickens. What did you make of the deal from the Dallas Cowboys and a third rounder for George Pickens and what he brings to the table? And if other teams should have been interested, or I know the Chiefs didn't want to draft him, so I don't think they would have been interested in giving up a draft pick for him, but the Cowboys acquiring George Pickens.
Yeah, I think that the way things were playing out, George Pickens and the Steelers weren't long for like a long-term relationship. That thing was on thin ice as is, and then the Steelers went out and bring in DK Metcalf, and well, it seemed cool in theory to have Pickens and Metcalf together, both running on the outside. They have a lot of overlap in kind of how they play, and that's just probably not the best way to build your receiving group. So it made sense from the Steelers' perspective to trade Pickens as long as he still had some value. And I think they got a pretty good deal back, given that it was after the draft. The Cowboys clearly were a little desperate to add wide receiver help for Dak Prescott to go along with CeeDee Lamb, and they didn't have anyone fall into their laps in the way that they wanted to in the draft, so they had to go make this move. So I feel like the Steelers got a pretty good deal out of it the way it was shaping up. I don't know if other teams were that interested. It really does feel like Pickens' antics on the field, off the field, in the media have been off-putting for not only the Steelers, but probably other teams, given the Steelers' track record with handling difficult personalities in the wide receiver room. If he had become too much for them so visibly and clearly early on, I do wonder if that scared off a lot of other teams. And it was kind of the Cowboys just betting against the Steelers, saying, well, we can keep him for one more year. So, yeah, I was not surprised by the move, but I was surprised the Steelers got so much for Pickens at this time. And I think the Cowboys just kind of had to make a move, but he should fit in very well with their offense, allowing CeeDee Lamb to go back to the slot, giving Dak Prescott a true outside guy that he can throw balls to in contested situations. So I think everybody kind of comes out in a little bit of a winner here, but as to your point, I don't think the Chiefs were overly interested in giving up a mid-round pick for George Pickens at this point.
Matt Lane is our guest. Let's talk about another wide receiver, though. It's a funny phenomena that takes place in the NFL and really sports in general with social media, in that if there is a player that is released or is on the open market and you've heard of his name before, and at some point in his career he has had some success, there's usually a quick reaction to, wait a minute, hold on, should the team that I root for go and get this guy? Wait a minute, this guy fits in this way or that way. Sure. It happens all the time. But my question to you, Matt, is the Gabe Davis news, with him being released by the Jags, is this one a little different to where there might be something to people going, interesting. How should the Chiefs be interested in Gabe Davis, and how his fit would be in this wide receiver room?
So Gabe Davis got released, and I had the same thought. I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of don't mind that for the Chiefs, and I'll talk about why here in a second. But so I tweeted that out, and I was kind of surprised at how many Chiefs fans think that Gabe Davis just can't play football. That has been a little shocking to me, because he's been a productive, very useful wide receiver for 4 out of his 5 years in the NFL. Here's a guy, even off a really bad year, averaged 600 yards and 6 touchdowns per season. He's not a bad football player. he's just wasn't ever worth the contract he got for the Jags. And so when they released him, I saw that and I was like, that's interesting that they're going to eat all this extra money just to get rid of him. But now that he's available, he's kind of exactly what the Chiefs have had in Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Justin Watson. Oh, and we could even go back to Demarcus Robinson. He's kind of the same guy as all of those players in that he lines up on the outside. He's going to be a low-volume player that only gets a handful of targets every single game, but he runs a lot of vertical routes. And it's not necessarily pure speed. He just is a big body that can work downfield through some, play a little physical, go downfield, maybe make the occasional big catch, and on top of it, he's a very good blocker. So I was like, yeah, he makes a lot of sense for what the Chiefs currently don't have in their wide receiver room, and it's kind of a role that they've always had somebody play. So he made a lot of sense to me on the surface, and this is assuming that he's making very little money on this contract to play football this year. This would not be me advocating for paying him $10 million a season. It's just, if he's going to play for very little, he's the exact type of player the Chiefs wide receiver room just has nobody to do right now.
So let me ask you from this standpoint, because I totally get the logic behind it, and they had Justin Watson, who played a lot, and he was a guy that was sort of like a teacher's pet, that he was where he was supposed to be. The coaches liked him. He was a good blocker, willing blocker, great locker room guy, right? Would do whatever they needed on the field. Chiefs had MVS before that, and different guys that would play like that specific X receiver doing what an X receiver is asked to do in this particular offense. I wonder in today's football, and with the Chiefs maybe specifically, maybe in overall football, Matt, the X receiver or positions are becoming more obsolete. Basketball is now positionless basketball. He's a forward. He's a basketball player. That guy plays center. Well, he also steps outside and shoots threes. So, it's more positionless now. That is more and more what we're seeing in the NFL of motions and alignments and play designs, that it's like, okay, we're not lining up in this spot every time and that spot every time, and we've got our traditional slot, and we got a Y, we got an X, and this guy's going to line up out wide on the line of scrimmage. This is what he does. So while we're seeing that come into football, specifically the Chiefs, though, are the Chiefs still a team that, even with all the concepts they run and the motion and things like that, are they still a team that views it and says, no, we want specific skill sets of an X, not just a guy who plays the X in this particular concept?
And so I think, positionless in all sports is becoming like the wave. So, you think about football right now, right? I do think this is a big part. You don't have – people would obviously take a Julio Jones if he's coming up to the draft, but teams aren't chasing a lower-level version of Julio Jones to be their number one wide receiver. They say, that's fine. We'll take the smaller, faster guy that is just a better football player and funnel our offense through the slot or versus our flanker or something else. So, I do believe there is a certain level of positionless football, and especially at wide receiver, that is happening. And I think your analogy to basketball is right. You now have – everybody doesn't have a point guard. You have point forwards, and your big man can step out and shoot, and sometimes your primary ball handler. But at the end of the day, even in basketball, somebody's got to box out, right? You got to have somebody that has some height or some length out there, and that's what I equate the X wide receiver to in football. You still got to hit a certain benchmark of a receiver's going to have to block. One of your receivers is going to have to go fit up on a linebacker to run the football sometimes. One of them is going to have to go pick off a safety that's trying to come down and run the alley from time to time. You do have to line up somebody on the line of scrimmage, and that opens them up to being pressed. And if it's Xavier Worthy, yes, while there's a chance that he beats the press and then he's gone because he's fast, how often does that happen? We've seen with him, Rasheed Rice, Hollywood Brown, all the guys kind of on the roster right now, I wouldn't say they are overly good at beating that press coverage. You don't want them from playing on the line of scrimmage. You just functionally need a body type that you can put out there that can block, that is going to be able to run 20 routes versus press coverage from being on the line of scrimmage in a game, even if that only equates to 2-3 targets in the entire game. So I don't think the Chiefs are looking for their next Julio Jones. I think they tried that a little bit with DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, overall talent level is a little different, but I just mean that type of receiver, and it didn't really ever catch. It was always felt not forced, but a little out of sync with what they typically do when they were trying to get him involved and make him a more focal point of the passing game. So I don't think they're looking for that. But again, we go back to the MVSs, the Justin Watsons, the Demarcus Robinsons. They played a lot because they could block, and because they could run their 20 routes versus press coverage, and maybe they do beat it 2 or 3 times and can potentially pop a big play over the top. I don't know if the Chiefs have a guy that can do all of those things right now, at least has proven that they can do all of those things like we have seen even at a lower level from some players over the past few years.
For those players in the past that you mentioned, Justin Watson, MVS, Demarcus Robinson, guys that have played the traditional X wide receiver for the Chiefs, with the percentage of those guys playing, which was a decent amount for what the production was. I mean, we talked about Justin Watson's percentage versus production, did not match up. And the percentage that's there, Matt, was it needed to be the specific position of the X? Like, we have to have this guy play the X receiver, so we're going to have him play a number, this percentage of snaps? Or were those guys, Watson and MVS, D-Rob, needed in that role because of limited options, that it was like, well, they're the best suited for it, those guys, and we really don't have many other guys that we can build around? For example, this year, would they need a traditional X if the Chiefs say, well, we have Kelsey that's going to be out there, and then our wide receivers are going to be Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown. Well, who's the traditional X? And Andy Reid and Matt Nagy might go, I don't care. This is how we're running this offense. So the question being, MVS, Watson, D-Rob, would those guys have played as many percentage of the snaps at the specific X receiver if it was this collection of players, Rice, Hollywood, and Xavier Worthy?
I think if we look at last year, I think Watson would have played a little bit less snaps if everybody was healthy, especially there was even a big uptick in his snaps once Rashee Rice got hurt. And there is a chance that the Chiefs tried to give him more and more time to play outside. It looked like last year to start, he had went from about 60% of his reps in the slot to about 50% in the first few games last season. So they might give Rashee Rice more time on the outside, but then we go back and start thinking about how the Chiefs offense operates. It doesn't run through that X wide receiver. It runs through the slot. So do you want to take your best wide receiver and Rashee Rice and take him out of the most important role? Do you want to move him to the X spot, and now he's no longer running those little spot routes over the ball or getting the one-on-one matchups on slants versus safeties and linebackers to really take advantage of his yards after catch ability? So, I do think that MVS still played a lot when he clearly was struggling, and it wasn't even, he wasn't having a great year in 2023. He still played over half the snaps, and not that the Chiefs had a ton of other options to throw out there, but that was a year they were trying to turn over their wide receiver room, and just nobody could get out there. So, maybe it's not leading the team in snaps. Maybe it's not finishing second on the team in snaps, but there will be plays in which you're going to have somebody that can block or that can handle press coverage a little bit. And right now, the idea of Rashee Rice is their best option on the team, and that's not a bad thing. We just haven't seen him do it a ton at the NFL level. And I think if you go back to a lot of people looking at him coming out of SMU, that was where they had pause with him as a prospect, was that he wasn't great at beating press or separating when playing outside. And so it was really neat to see how the Chiefs handled that transition to a completely new role. Maybe they dial back into it, but outside of that, I do think that they would be better off if they had somebody. That doesn't have to be Gabe Davis. It doesn't have to be somebody that plays 60% plus the snaps, but it would be nice to have somebody else that they could functionally put outside. They could block or beat press coverage occasionally and maybe provide a deep play downfield, and that's not a Hollywood Brown when you're including blocking or a Worthy or so on and so forth.
He's a rookie, so I'm not saying it would be relying on this guy, but is that something Jalen Royals can do, or is Jalen Royals in line with the Rashee Rice, that these are the things that he does really well, and beating man press coverage on the line of scrimmage as a traditional X is not something that's a skill set or something that the Chiefs would go and emphasize?
And we'll have to wait and see, because in Utah State, he aligned a lot as their X wide receiver on the left side. So he played a lot of X wide receiver on the line of scrimmage. And it was one of the very weird air raid type offenses where his split was 2 steps off of the sideline. So it's kind of hard to release versus press coverage when there's only one direction you can go. So it was a little funky, but I will say that I think, and it sounds like listening to some of the Chiefs pressers, they were more impressed with his yards after contact, with his ability to create big plays with the ball in his hand, more so than I think it was, than I was at least with watching him beat press coverage and be this kind of vertical receiver on the outside. So It's possible. He did it in college. That was kind of his role his final season. But I do think that, like Rashee Rice, he was at his best when you were having him work shallow over the middle of the field, getting the ball in his hands and letting him just create once he has the ball. So we'll have to see how they use him. I didn't foresee the Rice usage coming when they drafted him. You had to go back to his junior year to even see glimpses of stuff like that, I think, more so than his final season. So we'll see what their plan is with Royals, but I do think that at least early in his career, I'd feel it's more likely that he would have an impact in a Rashee Rice type role than he would be as an outside wide receiver.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Who's your guest right now for the Chiefs Rookie of the Year this year? We asked Teicher, and the three of us weighed in on this on Monday, and McShafer. So, throwing a dart right now, there's been a mini camp. So, we've got all this information. we've seen how they're going to be used in the mini camp, right? But Mackley Hill Award winner for this team, if you're throwing a dart right now on May 8th, who would you go with?
Goodness, that's a tricky question. I like it the team gives out this award so it doesn't have to be entirely production-based, right?
Yep.
Like the team will give this out to a player that they do just think played the best for them. So I like that aspect of it. And for that reason, I really did almost want to go with Josh Simmons here, just under the impression that it sounds like he might be a lot healthier than people were concerned about coming through the draft process. It doesn't seem like teams in general were as worried about his recovery as I think outside media was. So I'm real tempted to go with him, but I'm going to play it a little bit safer just because we don't know if he's going to start. I'm going to go with Ashton Gelati, defensive end out of Louisville, because I do think that there is a good chance that he gets a fair amount of rookie season George Karlaftis effort and cleanup sacks, while Chris Jones and Karlaftis and Omenihu were kind of the ones causing the play to happen. I could see his motor, effort, and intensity resulting in him having just a lot of glue plays and cleaning stuff up that kind of give him a little bit of a nudge over the rest.
Yeah. Dylan went Ashton Gelati. Adam Teicher went Ashton Gelati.
Common pick. Okay,
so there you go. Sterling and I went Brashard Smith.
That's the fun one.
In opportunity and return, return man, and I think third down back. But I think my preference, Matt, if I had to choose what would be the one I would want to win, who would I want to win, would be Josh Simmons.
For sure.
I would love that if he won the Rookie of the Year award, because that means he's playing and he's making an impact. Not just playing, but he's playing and he's really good. And he's made more of an impact than what we expect Gelati or Norman Lott or Powell or Royals or Brashard Smith to make, and that would mean he's playing, and he's playing at a high level.
I feel like either protecting or getting to the quarterback would make everyone here happy.
Yeah. So, I guess I would probably go Simmons and then Gelati is who I would like it to be. But I went with opportunity in Brashard Smith in that return game. Elijah Mitchell has been an injury-prone player, and they really like what Brashard Smith can do on the outside zone and the receiving game. I think the opportunity is there, but my preference would be either the left tackle or the edge rusher.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That all makes a ton of sense. I think Brashard Smith does have probably the cleanest pathway to making a big impact on a play-by-play, not even a play-by-play basis, but the big dynamic plays that could turn or change the way the game plays out. So I could see that one. That would be a lot of fun. If Simmons plays, if he's healthy and he's going to play, and even if he's healthy, we don't know if he beats out Jalen Moore. That's why I had to kind of shy away from that one. We just don't know how that left tackle spot pans out. But if he's the one that wins the award, then yes, you got yourself competent at worst left tackle play for the majority of the season out of a rookie, and that is definitely a good thing. A competent play at left tackle for a rookie for the season is a great thing, and so that would be worth it. That probably would have by far the biggest impact overall on the Chiefs being better. It fixes their biggest issues from last year, if that's the case, assuming the rest of the team plays, roughly the same level. So he's the one we all should hope for this award to come true. But, we'll have to see how the health plays out and then just what the depth chart looks like come week one.
By the way, looking at it, the AP voters and everything, and I know this is a team, but I'm giving an example here. The AP voters for MVP, you got to be a quarterback, right, to win the MVP in the NFL. And with the Chiefs as the Mackley Hill Award winner, apparently you've got to be an offensive player. Because since Marcus Peters in 2015, only one defensive player has won the Mackley Hill Award in the last 8 years. Only one defensive player.
Interesting.
And that was, anybody want to throw a dart? Dylan, Sterling. Matt, you guys want to take a guess as to who the one defensive player that was named the Mackley Hill Award winner going back to 2015? You want to throw a dart?
Damn, that's a good one.
Was it George Karlaftis? Oh, I have no idea. I mean,
it was Bolton.
I could see it being Creed Humphrey too.
Yeah, it was Bolton. It was Nick Bolton.
Credit to me for getting that right.
More credit to you.
Yeah, since Marcus Peters, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, Andrew Wiley in 2018, which also shows how bad the 18 draft was, but still good on Andrew Wiley. McCole Hardman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Nick Bolton, Isaiah Pacheco, and Rashee Rice. And then this last year was Xavier Worthy. And so wide receiver, running back, linebacker, running back, wide receiver, right tackle, running back, wide receiver.
Shout out Isaiah Pacheco beating out Karlaftis and
right?
Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, and I think McDuffie was hurt because he was hurt. You know,
yeah.
that sort of. But Karlaftis was damn good. That was being the rookie of the year for the Chiefs in that draft class. Was pretty tough. That's pretty difficult to do. But, yeah, he had one that certainly was earned. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. We will catch up down the road, man.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Absolutely. You too. There's Matt Lane joining us talking some Kansas City Chiefs football. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Ryan Tracy will join us coming up at noon. We'll talk a little Royals baseball on the other side. We'll also get into some more Chiefs football as the show rolls along. Sports or leisure at 1 o'clock. More Zone right after this. Chiefs things. (913-912-4810) is the text line to join us. We talked a lot of Royals in the first hour and odd baseball rules as well in the first hour. Let's hear from Matt Quattrero. He weighs in, starts off talking about Michael Wacha's outing and the pitching staff overall, but also weighs in here as part of a follow-up question as to why at 84 pitches through 7 innings, he decided let's go to Urseg and Carlos Estevez instead of maybe staying with Wacha for another inning or maybe 2 if he gets out of the 8th pretty quickly and maybe going for a complete game shutout.
For him, too, I believe that's the first time getting through 7. Efficient. You know, he had the one, I think it was the 4th inning maybe where he threw 25, 23 pitches, something like that. But then the efficiency, getting ahead, the changeup, and the slider was really good, especially early in the game tonight.
Did you think he could make it through the 8th, essentially?
Sure. I mean, it crossed my mind, but with those guys rested at the back end, and that, like I said, that was his first time getting through 7. So that was what went into that decision.
Do you feel like he's kind of hitting a groove right now, hitting his stride now as we get into the second half?
Yeah, I mean, I think thinking through it a little bit more, it's probably more just the endurance factor, you know, because the starts at the beginning of the year were really good. It's just that we had hiccups in his last inning a couple times, you know, and now he's finishing off those innings.
They have been that, you know, even last year they communicated so much, the starters. Are you still seeing that even growing more with that kind of competition, but also helping each other out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we've talked about it a little bit. I think that's awesome because they're so engaged in the game that when 4 other starting pitchers stay engaged in the game, that's chemistry in the dugout too. Not just for the pitchers, but sometimes you get a starting pitcher that checks out, doesn't really pay attention. That changes the whole dynamic in the dugout. But when those guys are involved and invested in what's going on, that really builds a team chemistry.
It's been an interesting early part of the season through 8 starts for Michael Wacha because his pitch mix has been different than a year ago what he was going with. He still throws the 6 pitches, the 4-seamer, the change, the cutter, the sinker, the slider, the curve. Throws them all about roughly 7 or 8% of the time. Every single one of those pitches is thrown about 7 or 8% of the time. Like last year, he threw the fewest pitches he threw last year of any pitch was 212 curveballs, and that was 8%. That was the least thrown pitch. Same thing with this year. It's the least thrown pitch is the curveball. But what I've also seen from Wacha is last year he threw the change almost 10% of the time more than he threw the fastball. And this year he's throwing the fastball 7% more than he's throwing the change. He's throwing more fastballs than the change. Last year was almost leading with changeup, throwing changeup, then working off the fastball. Changeup, fastball. This year it's been fastball, changeup. He's decreased how often he's been throwing a sinker. So he's gone more to the 4-seamer, less to the 4-seam and sinker. So 4-seam, 2-seam. Now it's more just the 4-seam rather than 4-seam, 2-seam. I thought that was kind of interesting. Slider curve is still the same, but he's increased the cutter. So he's moved from having a 4-seam, a cutter, and a 2-seam to having more of a 4-seamer, more of a cutter, and then less of that sinker that's there. I don't know why. If it at the end of the season, maybe it will look exactly like it did last year through 29 starts, and it'll be what it through 8 starts. This is just what it looks like. Or is it scouting for the other team, and it just so happens to be that some games he's throwing more and more of this against that team? Or is it something to where the movement on the pitches, he feels like he wasn't getting what he needed out of the 2-seamer last year, so let me incorporate the cutter more and the 4-seamer more if that may play off of the changeup and the slider and the curve as opposed to the 2-seam, the change. Because if the 2-seam, and the change are sort of going in the same direction, Do you want to just change speeds with some of the same ball movement action, or throw the cutter in there with a four seam and then the change, dropping low and inside to the right-handed hitters, and then work off that with the slider and the curve going the other way?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thought process of the sinker having the same sort of movement as the change. A little, obviously, lesser movement, but still, it's moving the exact same way, so trying to throw the cutter more. What's interesting was the cutter last year was about his worst pitch. His cutter and slider both got, and kind of curve, all three kind of got shelled last year. Well, this year the slider and curve have been nearly unhittable, and his cutter's taken a nice step forward. So I don't know if that was an offseason plan of, hey, these three pitches I really struggled last year. Let's see if we can refine them. And maybe he found something that he really liked and said, you know what? I know the cutter was bad last year, but I've really improved on this. I feel comfortable now.
Yeah.
I just wonder if that's the way it's gone, because, yeah, it is really funny. The cutter, slider, and curve were shelled last year. His changeup was, again, just ridiculously good last year.
Still continues to be.
And then this year, the cutter hasn't been great overall as far as numbers, but it's been a big improvement over last year, while the slider and curve, slider specifically, is taking a drastic step forward. I mean, massive step forward. So,
and last night might have had a lot to do with that, as Q said. The slider was working last night, so maybe then you throw that in there. It's like, well, now the numbers are skewed because, he's thrown 62 total sliders this year, threw a number of them last night, and nobody was doing anything against it. And, okay, now on the season, guys are batting .077, against that particular pitch.
It is interesting because, I don't know. His four-seamer the sinker was actually pretty good last year. The numbers were great last year on the sinker, even versus the four-seamer, so I don't know why
it's early on,
that
so
changed.
Who knows?
But, I mean, it went from last year he threw 612 four-seamers, 403 sinkers. This year, 235 four-seamers, 67. So, I mean, just the numbers already drastically different percentage-wise. So, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have a good feel for it, but it clearly looks like the offseason plan was slider cutter, and it's worked.
Yeah. Let's hear from Michael Wacha then. He weighs in on his outing last night and what's going on with this team and the pitching staff overall building off each other. I do love the fact that they meet when any pitcher comes off the mound. They talk and everything, and they're into the game. Here's Michael Wacha weighing in on starting off with what he felt about his outing.
Felt good. Felt like our mix was really good. I felt like, me and Maley got on a nice little page there where the communication in between innings was, kind of coming to fruition out there on the field. And, felt like pitch count was down. They were swinging early. They were aggressive. Making quality pitches, and defense was playing great behind me. Izzy running some balls down out there, Bob in the hole, Salvi with some tough spinners, but overall it was a good outing for sure.
You expand a little bit on your mix. Obviously the execution and efficiency was there, but it seemed like you were able to keep them off balance with the four. So.
Right. No, I feel like just things are starting to come around where can throw stuff for strikes at any counts, and then able to expand on it whenever I need to. So felt like I got some weapons that can stay unpredictable and stay on the attack with them.
We talked to Reagans a couple days ago about how the starters kind of competing against each other. I guess what's it like right now with those guys kind of in tune to your start and everybody putting up good outings here in a row?
Yeah, we feel like it's a strength of us is going out there and having good quality outings, and we want to keep building off of each one. And so if somebody goes out there and shoves, we want to back it up with another one and keep that momentum on our side. And we're each other's biggest fans in that dugout, and we want to hear, we want to learn, and keep advancing our game to another level.
Q was talking about that in there. You guys really are engaged in the game as the starters when you're not pitching. I'm guessing that's not the case everywhere that you've ever pitched, that maybe people aren't as quite as engaged as they are here? And what does that offer for you guys?
I think it's the type of guys that we have, that are wanting to learn and wanting to, kind of take their game to another level. And, you can learn a lot from this game just by being in that dugout and watching how hitters swing, how hitters react to certain pitches. And, I try to be out there as much as I can to support my guys first, but also to try to keep learning in this game for sure.
Do you feel like like you're kind of hitting your stride right now? I mean, last year we kind of talked about the slower start, and maybe this year too a little bit, but it seems like right now you're kind of hitting a groove.
Right. Yep. Just taking some things from each outing. Yep. Doing a little self-evaluation. Going over each outing. What can we do better? What can we improve on from outing to outing? Whether we work on it in catch play or in the bullpen, or is it a mentality side of it? Just always learning and always trying to take that game to another level. But this is a good one tonight, good one to build on, and look forward to the next one.
He, as Annie said about maybe hitting his stride, and against Houston, 6 innings, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts. Against Baltimore, 6 1/3. He gave up 3 earned runs, but he goes into the 7th inning, giving up no earned runs, and he gives up the home run. A couple guys get on base. Steven Cruz comes in and runs score, and all of them are then given to Michael Wacha. So the book closes on him at 6 1/3 with 3 earned runs, and then he comes back in the 7th inning and gives up no earned runs. It would be, when Q talks about, I thought about put him out there for the 8th, but we got the guys rested. I don't know how much did Baltimore pop into his mind when it's like, well, he's gone 6 innings. It's a limited pitch count here. Let's throw him out there for another inning in the 7th. And, oh, whoops. Now Baltimore jumped on him, and now he's gone 6 1/3 and 3 earned runs, as opposed to 6 innings, no earned runs. Let's hand it over to a clean inning to the bullpen.
And I think it's a good point. I think it's so easy to say, well, just let him go until a guy gets on base. And I'm always my pushback's always, well, if that's the case, then why put him out to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have him and give him such a short leash, then why throw him out for? Because then he's going, if you give up any sort of hit, walk, I'm pulled. Then you're all of a sudden pitching tight. So I've always found that a little fascinating. And plus, relievers don't typically love starting with guys on base, right? It's a different mindset. I know some guys like Ursa, they're great at it. But again, I know he was ready to go in this one. If you're going to give him the 8th, you give him the 8th, barring a disaster. If he gets a guy or two on, you turned him, you trusted him, you got to almost let him roll. I get the thought process to it, and Q really hit on it as far as in some of the previous outings. That final inning that he pitched was the outlier. I wanted to ask you, Dylan, obviously, because you're the resident pitcher of this group right here. He mentioned he hadn't gone 7 or past 7 or gone 7 this year, but he only had 84 pitches. As a pitcher, does the inning, the up downs make a difference? Is it just pitch count? Because
is it times through the order?
Yeah, because Q never mentioned pitch count.
Times through the order was always, in my opinion, the most vital. Like if you see someone, is it better if you're seeing someone for the 3rd time, especially if they're not a guy with like electric stuff? Usually at the big league level, like that's kind of when, because like as you like in high school, obviously I could pitch a little longer. Then college, you as you level up, it decreases and decreases as far as like your effectiveness late.
Sure.
So whether or not that's a pitch thing or maybe the swings they were putting on it towards the end were good ones.
Yeah.
Like they were making good contact. They were starting to see the baseball. And when they were fouling it off, it was going straight back, which is another indicator that you're right on his pitches. So it's more like a feel thing, I feel like, with Michael Wacha, where – because I was looking at the pitch count and it was like, damn, he's cruising. Like this is perfect if you want to go a complete game.
That's what I thought.
But, sometimes they see it before we do. That, okay, they're starting to piece him up, and this is the 8-9 hitter. What is going to happen when a 4th time through the order with their top hitters?
And also I do wonder – the course of a season. Okay, he's gone 84. It's been relatively easy. He's cruised. He's been locked in. You can go and get him out and feel like, all right, it's not a taxing night
Marathon,
for him.
not a sprint. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking back at like his pitch count this year, that was his 8th start. Only twice has he gone into the 90s, and one of them was opening day 97, and then he had one other one in the 90s so far this year. And looking at last year, pitch counts dating back from September and back towards the beginning of the season. 83, 96, 93, 91, 85, 100, 94, 87, 92, 99, 89, 81, 95, 84. So it was kind of he got to 100 pitches twice last year. And so not necessarily something that they even did last year with Michael Wacha. And, 32 years old last year. Well, 33. He turns 34 in the middle of the season. So he turned 33 in the middle of the season last year. He'll turn 34 middle of the season this year. Maybe it's part of that. You know what? This was kind of I don't want to say easy because it's disrespectful to the White Sox, but he was locked in. He was cruising, didn't have a lot of stressful pitches, and 7 innings, no earned runs. Let's go ahead and get him out of there and feel like he did pretty good. And
but
he
in the
didn't tax his arm.
postseason, like, you wouldn't make that decision because it's one of those, did you make the decision that made the other team happy?
Right.
Like, you would stick with him because, one, there's not a lot on the tail end, like you're saying.
But I would say in the postseason, I would want to see Wacha instead of Ursig.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You don't want to make a decision that makes the other team happy.
No,
if
right,
no
right.
one can hit Wacha, why would you take him out of the game?
Right. But if you feel like at least you're putting some swings on Wacha,
right,
and Ursig is unhittable,
it's a feel. More so, I really do. To your question again, it's not pitch count. It's got to be feel.
Yeah.
The only reason you hear pitch count so much nowadays is Paul Skeens. Everyone thinks that like those type of pitchers and the injuries that are happening and the arm with Jeff Pass, all that stuff. But in the reality of it, when you get to that level, it's more like, can he make it through the order another time? How far can he make it through the order? And also, is this worth testing that, or do we just get a reliever in there and make sure?
I did some quick math because that was fun. In 29 starts last year, he threw about 2,600 pitches.
Okay.
I don't know why. I need to do some more math and breakdowns trying to do it in my head. It was very difficult with some non-round numbers with all of the pitches he threw. But that's kind of what I broke down to. So just something to keep in mind there as far as I think we always think about 100 pitches. But that's if you're going great.
Right.
Like, but you got to count into the ones that don't. I just thought it was interesting.
And as we go to break, would you rather see Michael Wacha or Ursig? Since that game against Detroit when Ursig pitched 2/3 of an inning and gave up an earned run in a game that it was like, he's throwing in this game and they're, you're just trying to get an inning of work. There wasn't really leverage to that. Since that game, 8 appearances, 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, no walks, 8 Ks, no earned runs, 6 holds, and a save for Ursig. So 8 innings, 4 base runners, 8 strikeouts for Ursig in that time since that Detroit game. So would I want to see Wacha for the 3rd or 4th time through the order, or would I want to see Ursig come out of the bullpen? I'd rather see Wacha again, I think, in my mind, rather than Ursig that's not giving up any base runners right now at all, and he is just mowing them down. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. Coming up on the other side of the break, talking some Chiefs football, talking some draft. I was going to play the clip from Buster Olney, essentially talking about the Jack Caglione timeline and saying, just throwing out the possibility and saying, does he need AAA? You know, is he a guy that, you know, we see guys skip AAA all the time? That and he said, you know, right now, AAA and AA is not much different in terms of the arms. So if he's doing this in AA, do you really need to see him go up to AAA and do it? Or can you go straight from AA? I think we'll be seeing a lot more in right field before they bring him up.
Yeah.
He's played 4 games in right field in his last 12 games. That would increase, right? I would guess.
A few more.
Yeah, just a few more. Miles. An hour from now, playing a little sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. Let's talk some Kansas City Chiefs, some draft, some offseason, some players. Joining us, Ryan Tracy, RGR, Locked On Chiefs Football, here to talk about the Chiefs draft, the takeaway from that mini camp wrapping up over the weekend with Chiefs rookies, and what we do now looking forward over the rest of the offseason. Ryan, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm keeping up. I actually got some rest. How are you doing?
Good for you. When did the rest happen on the draft take a deep breath?
Basically, as soon as that ding, ding, ding goes off on the last selection of the draft.
Okay.
Get a few hours immediately and then pop back up for air.
Good for you. Good for you, man. Let's talk about the draft then. Since we haven't talked to you since pre-draft. Did you like what the Chiefs were able to accomplish on the whole? Was it something that they got value out of? How do you come away viewing this Chiefs draft?
They definitely got value, in my opinion, and actually selected three of the maybe my favorite fits for this team that I had mocked over the pre-draft run-up fairly consistently. I was one of the ones that was very comfortable with the progress that Josh Simmons did make, and while that is still a risk, to fortify it with that little flip for a fifth-round selection that secured you a player that I'm sure we'll talk about later, but I really do like. I thought it was really, really efficient use and relatively low risk for what you're getting. There's always risk involved, but I was pretty happy with that. And when they came back with Norman Lott and Ashton Gelati, two guys that I had projected to be very good at providing the one thing that they absolutely must have on the defensive front this season, and that is pass rush. I was really happy that that duo was going to kind of grow into their roles together.
Yeah, I liked that as well, and there seemed to be a lot of people that were skeptical of Omar Norman Lott in the second round. Even some national analysts of saying, "Wow, this team just drafted a rotational college guy to come in and play on the defensive line with Chris Jones in the second round." And there was clearly something specific that the Chiefs need, because Turk Wharton is gone, and I don't want the Chiefs to go into next season saying it's Chris Jones and Jerry Tillery that can offer pass rush from the interior, and trying to replace Turk with Tillery. I don't think that's smart business. So I liked the Omar Norman Lott pick as well. So interesting to hear that you liked it. What do you think they get out of him as a rookie? Can they go, apples to apples, 1-for-1, the Turk to Norman Lott, where people were like, you lose Tyreek Hill, but then you draft Sky Moore. You got this guy. Is Turk to Norman Lott, is that an apples to apples, a 1-to-1 there?
I don't think that it is for a couple of reasons. One, I think you actually have a more natural pass rusher from 3-tech in Norman Lott. That is what he does best. That is where he is most comfortable and at home, and it is the way that he can make the most impact on this defensive front this season. Now, that's a singular concept of what a grown man DT is going to have to be eventually, but let's be honest. Even Chris Jones, as good as he is when he came out, there were questions about how well he played on first and second down. The pass rush is the name of this game, especially with the ball coming out of quarterbacks' hands faster, with the prolific use now, where honestly I think we have to consider 3 wide receivers and 11 personnel the standard, the starting set within the NFL. It's a pass-first league. You have to get after that quarterback. And so I do feel, especially with Chris Jones's mentorship and being in that room, that it's something he can grow into eventually. But the rookie focus is going to be about rotating in, not necessarily on the most critical downs, because I don't think that's a load that you want to put on a rookie. But it's something that you have to come in and get after the quarterback and make that guard pay attention to you. Make him ask for help from that center. And that alleviates pressure across the entire front. I do think they can get that from him as a rookie.
Do they need more help at defensive tackle for first and second down? And, they've got Pennell, no Nadi, but I worry about when they play the Chargers specifically, and they want to line up with that offensive line and, with their running backs that they drafted and that game plan, and say, we're going to run right at you, and it be Jones and Pennell especially if Pennell is, banged up or something like that. I don't know who's there, but Tillery and Omar Norman Lott to try to stop the run. I fear that Bolton and Tranquil or Chanel will be running with guards hitting them throughout that game. That's my fear of picturing that game.
I think your fear is well placed. And I do think there is an acquisition still in the future for this position group, specifically to be that first down type man eater. Now, there's still options. And I do think either a veteran cut here in the next few months could happen, maybe even a cut downs from camp. We'll have to see. But there's also, I think, going to be a number of free agents that you can come in on a rotational basis that can play first down better. They can be not the prolific pass rusher, but be the guy that mans it day to day to day.
Yeah.
They also have a couple of guys on this roster that I'm still very intrigued by.
Okay.
Tui Pelotu was not able to get on the field last year. I do think he's got the size and the run stop ability that he could come in and be serviceable.
Okay.
But we got to see some progression, and we got to see it here starting in the next couple of weeks. That'll be a question mark for me. I'm also a big fan of Fabian Lovett with the length and the ability. I do think the transition to the NFL was clearly more than he could handle as a rookie, and that's perfectly fine. But now what can he do in that jump year from year one to year two, especially with Joe Cullen and his tutelage? I'm looking for something from him here, not only in OTAs, but certainly at the beginning of training camp when pads come on. So there's still a couple of in-house options as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. And maybe that's why maybe we're looking more pass rushing defensive tackle rather than, first and second down defensive tackle, which there were some out there in the draft, just depending on what round you wanted to go and who you were willing to give up out of these 7 draft picks. So Ryan Tracy's our guest, RGR Football Locked On Chiefs podcast. Who do you think has the best chance to start of these players and some of the positional battles that we'll see with these teams, Gelati and Dana / Amenahue, Noel Williams and Fulton and Watson, Simmons and Jalen Moore. If you look at these guys, who would you say if this guy's starting game one, that wouldn't be a surprise to you here for the rookies?
Probably the most likely to me is at a position that we know they have a ton of depth, but it's almost like the old quarterback saying, if you don't have 3 starting corners, if you have more than that, then you don't have 3 starting corners.
Yeah.
So I do think that competition for Noel Williams is something that he can get into the mix for and possibly get to the point where he starts. I don't expect it to be week 1, but we've seen the ups and downs of the play of Joshua Williams. We've seen the unavailability at times of Jalen Watson due to injury. Fulton is obviously new to the scheme. I was relieved to understand that they were as high on him for this scheme fit as I was when he came out in the draft. So there is obviously a delay there, but I think he'll be able to acclimate. I think the bigger question is who gives them enough base so that they can do what they want to do with Trent McDuffie and be able to make him a guy that, like L'Jarius Sneed, as he progressed through the system, was able to travel with the best receiver. And I think that's ultimately the goal. And Noel Williams may have to be a guy that can man an outside slot in this defense eventually to take part of that responsibility on. We know he has ball skills. I think it's going to be about transition. So I'd be looking more towards the bye week rather than week 1.
Depending on when the bye week is. If it's early like last year, who knows? Ryan Tracy, RGR Football Locked On Chiefs. Along with that, one of the things I was wondering and brainstorming and trying to think of as we look at this rookie class and newcomers for training camp in the 53, a returning player or somebody that we're thinking about on the 53-man roster right now that, wow, that guy got cut. That guy got released. That guy's not on the team anymore. And in talking about Noel Williams, maybe Joshua Williams, that if there's a returning player that may not make the team and maybe a cut that we're just sort of talking about being a part of the room, is there one out there that comes to mind? Because when I hear and when we on the air talk about Noel Williams, it's like, well, you got Watson and you got Josh Williams, you got Najee Johnson and Nick Jones and these other players that they like. And I know that Dave Tobe likes Josh Williams, but man, every time there's a penalty on special teams, they kept calling out number 2, and that got kind of annoying. But is there a returning player that you would look at and say is at risk of not making this 53 because of the players they brought in?
I certainly think that Joshua would have to be on that list, as would Najee Johnson. But I wouldn't say that it's singled out. They're certainly able to compete. Their experience buys them enough of an edge that I wouldn't count them out or say that I expect it.
Yeah, right.
To tell you the truth. I'm really interested to see what happens at edge. Malik Herring's back on this roster, and I think the group, again, it's a rotational group. There's a lot of players here. Can Malik Herring still carve out a presence on this roster as he has the last few years with Mike Dannon, Felix Anziki-Ozama, as well as Charles Omenihu, and now Ashton Gelati? That's quite a group to go with George Karlaftis, and I think that might be a little bit more uphill than we expected.
Yeah. We're visiting with Ryan Tracy, RGR Football Locked On Chiefs podcast. Best case scenario would be that, Josh Simmons is really good and recovered from the injury and good to go week 1. If we see this best case scenario, because by the way, Andy Reid was very high in his praise of Josh Simmons, and he even got a dog on it. He's out there running around looking good, dog on it. And wow, okay, that's pretty effusive of his praise that we don't typically see from Andy. I don't know what it means, but it certainly is eye-opening, ear-opening, eyebrow-raising. I'm not sure. Dog on it. Herbie, dog on it, Matt
How
Derrick.
are you feeling today with all the pictures, like the smiley face,
yes, that's
the
right.
depressed face?
100%.
Was it an excited dog on it? Was it a
was it an
immediate dog on it?
Was it a stop asking me about it, dog on it, because I'm not going to answer Josh Simmons' patella questions all off-season, dog on it? If best case scenario is that Simmons is healthy and wins the job, what do they do with Jalen Moore? What happens at the tackle spot, right tackle, Moore, Simmons? Let's just say, even if we say he doesn't win the job, let's just say Simmons is healthy and looks good. How do you think this thing plays out week number 1 for the Chiefs at tackle?
I really feel the process has to play out as they planned for it to this point. I hope that Josh Simmons is healthy enough to play week 1. I don't think that he should. I think he should be put on the Patrick Mahomes plan and learn what he can from the veterans, make the transition, and allow that injury to progress without a heavy load of game snaps. I would hope, and let me be specific, I'm hoping for a week 12 bye, so that's part of my plan here. But at that point, after the bye, in the teen weeks, I hope maybe he can come in and play some 6 offensive lineman snaps, that kind of thing, get his feet wet. But I would be very, very reluctant to push him onto the field, even if he looks good as a rookie, given the severity of that injury. Because while you can return a year later, we all know from most mechanical issues with knees, year 2 post-surgery is always better and always closer to the real thing. And most importantly, with the least risk of re-injury. I think that only goes up as the player in question's body weight rises. So for an offensive lineman, it's much different, in my opinion, than a safety or a cornerback. And so I think caution is the name of the game here, because Jalen Moore is a passable player. If he continues to progress, as Brett Veach seems to think that he will, I see him eventually being a right tackle that starts in this league and for this team for quite a while. If he doesn't, either way, Joshua Simmons is the future at left tackle at this point. And I think you have to guard that for what is the remainder of Patrick Mahomes' career. Still pushing a decade is my estimation.
Interesting. Ryan Tracy, RGR Football Locked On Chiefs podcast. Very quick, rapid-fire ones for you. George Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie, either of them sign a long-term deal before the start of the season?
For the start?
Yes.
Unlikely.
Okay. Unlikely. And then who wins we're getting everybody to weigh in on this just to see what the voting looks like before the season. Who wins the Mackley Hill Award for the Chiefs this year as Rookie of the Year?
I'm actually going to put that at Jalen Royals, because I do think he'll have an opportunity to contribute at some point, just with the attrition rate at that position.
Heck yeah, we have a Royals that has now entered the conversation. It's the first one we've had with the Royals. I love it. Heck yeah. Ryan Tracy, RGR, Locked On Chiefs Football. Ryan, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. Love the conversation, and we'll catch up down the road.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. There's Ryan Tracy. Great stuff from him. A few names there that came up, that some of the things that we've talked about. Best chance to start with different positional battles, and he went with Noel Williams as saying, well, that would be sort of the most likely because of the opportunity there for him in what the cornerback room looks like right now.
Sure.
And there's 3 of them that would be on the field with McDuffie and Fulton, and then insert name here. We're assuming it's Jalen Watson. He's also battled injuries the last couple of years, so maybe it's Noel Williams. And then I added in with that, okay, so if that's the case, one of the things that we haven't really kicked around and discussed is there a veteran or two on this team that is in most in danger of not making the 53-man roster, of being released, and you're like, oh, man, that guy's been a mainstay. And I sort of connected it with his Noel Williams answer and said, is Joshua Williams a guy that, we're talking about that gets released because he hasn't improved over the last couple of years to the way that they had hoped? And quite frankly, I'm a little tired of every time there's a penalty on special teams, they're calling out number 2. Holding, block in the back, number 2, Chiefs, number 2. Like, enough.
That's a good one. I'd be surprised.
And he said, that's what he said. He's like, they're in the mix, but he wouldn't put it as like these guys are probably on the chopping block, because maybe even Najee Johnson as a part of that. He kind of went, it seemed like he was going the Malik Herring route, which would make a lot of sense because of Ashton Gelati. You brought back a Menahue. You still have FAU. You've got Karlaftis. You've got Dana under contract. Herring would be the one that would make sense if they were to move on from somebody that's been on the team for a number of years.
I said I think an interesting one could be the running back room. I said it could be Pacheco or Kareem Hunt.
I don't think it'd be Pacheco.
I don't think it would be either. I mean, that's why if you're going to say a surprise one, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I see what you're.
If it had to be,
I don't even know that it would have to be a surprise. Just like who were the veterans that are entering camp going. Pacheco said, "I'm drafted to take somebody's job. I'm going to take a grown man's job." Right?
Sure.
If there's a guy entering camp that's going, crap, he's here to take a grown man's job, and it's my job he's going to take.
Yeah, I'm trying to think in the linebacker
because Joshua
room,
Williams is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, Williams or Johnson,
Nazi,
and then I guess you could say Malik Herring's kind of that's tough.
Yeah. They didn't draft any guards.
Tuipulotu, maybe I know it's a silly one. Tuipulotu maybe thought that he had an opportunity now, but now with Jerry Tillery,
well, maybe Mike,
and
he said Tuipulotu, and Fabian Levitt were the ones that he thought. And I'm like, okay, so if those are 2 guys that could play the one technique early, first and second down, does that put Mike Pennell on the chopping block? I have no idea. I'm just throwing out names. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's just there's some interesting moves to be made. I said maybe Jack Conklin. He's been a special teams guy for a long time, but the contract, I don't think they'd release him.
But we don't really talk about him. You know what I mean? Like the way we talked about last year with Joshua Williams and Najee Johnson and Jalen Watson.
You would have to have 5 linebackers then because you're going to keep.
We've got 4.
That's what I'm saying. You would keep 5 on the 53. So I think Conklin could be an interesting one, but again, I doubt it. I mean, yeah, the Chiefs are lucky in the sense that they have so much depth that we're talking about players that I think a lot of teams would be
players that have played.
Yeah, we're not talking about
roles
unknowns.
On Super Bowl teams. Joshua Williams played a role on a Super Bowl winning team. So like he had the interception against Joe Burrow, right?
Yeah,
in the AFC Championship game. So I mean, he's played good football, which was why it was such a surprise last year that he took a step back.
Yeah.
When the opportunity was clearly there when they traded Snead and Watson was injured, that he takes a step back. So I don't know who it's going to be, but there's going to be a veteran or 2 on this team that we're looking at the 53. If we're projecting 53-man roster right now, that we look up and go, wow, that guy didn't make it. And then through training camp and preseason, we might go, well, that was expected.
Yeah.
As we've watched training camp and preseason, this move was expected. We might be going down that road. And I don't know that there's a rookie that will not make the team like we've seen in years past where Cornell Powell
been back-to-back. Keandre Coburn and
Kamal Hadden.
Kamal Hadden. Those are back-to-back 6th rounders with Coburn. So 6th rounder this year. There was none.
I'll
tell you this much. No 6.
Promise you, there will not be a 6th rounder that does not make the 53-man roster this year.
Veach goes, we've back-to-back 6th rounders have been cut. You know what? We're not going to have a 6th rounder.
Don't even need a 6th
rounder.
Don't
draft one. That guy's going to be cut.
We don't have a 6th rounder on the roster from the last 2 drafts.
Smart.
They now have 3 drafts in a row where they will not have a 6th round draft pick on their roster as a rookie that year. Wow, crazy. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk with Kendall Gammon, and we'll hear about a really cool gala coming up with the Chiefs ambassadors, and we'll hang out with Kendall Gammon, get his thoughts on some of this Chiefs stuff and this gala that he'll be taking part in, and you can as well. More Zone coming up next. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. Very pleased on this Thursday that we get to talk some NFL football and some really cool things with giving back to the community with Kendall Gammon, who's hanging out with us on a Thursday. This is odd.
Yes.
I'm going to come out of this conversation, Kendall, and think that it's Friday. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. It's only Thursday? Kendall's in on a Thursday, not a Friday? Oh, thanks a lot, Kendall.
I just appreciate you slumming with me for a while. It's outstanding.
Feel like that's going on with us.
I'm a tremendous slouch.
As we all are. I want to, we'll get to the KC Ambassadors thing in a second, but you're wearing your War Horses for Veterans shirt. How was the Derby party this weekend?
It was wonderful. I mean, great food, great time, great cause. Obviously, I'm a homer, but Red Door Grill, they catered the thing. We had 425 folks there. We had the new barn up that we raised funds for last year. Had all the horses in there. They were the stars. It's great. You walk in there and all the horses are just looking out at you like, "What up? Come pet me."
Yes.
I mean, it was pretty cool.
Why are you guys worrying about those horses on the TV? I'm right here.
And it was a beautiful day, and just everything about it. Tito's was our lead sponsor. Schnarr Family Wine, all kinds of different things. It was wonderful.
How dressed to the max for Kendall Gammon and your family?
Scale of 1 to 9, because apparently you can only dress to the 9s.
Yes,
10s don't exist. So on a scale of 1 to 9,
unlike Spinal Tap where it goes to 11.
11.
You can dress to 11s on
one more. But where was I at?
On a scale of 1 to 9, where were you at?
I'd say about 11.
Wow. Yes.
No, maybe not. I don't know. But I told you, they had the linen, beige linen pants, some white tennis shoes, a nice button down.
Well, I don't know. Bow tie or no?
No bow tie.
Okay, then you were not. You were not a 9.
But I had a hat. Okay, number 9.
You had a hat. That gives you a point.
That gives you a point.
Okay,
but beige, though, fellas, beige. It's got to be like baby blue or like lime green. It's got to be like
pastel.
Pastel. Yeah.
Pastel green was the
okay.
So you're good there. I just got a fist bump for those not watching.
We should, instead of calling it dress to the 9s or on a scale of 1 to 9, we'll just call it on a scale of 1 to Bob Kendrick.
Yeah, Bob Kendrick's
so Bob Kendrick being the 9.
He doesn't play.
So
that's an unreachable score, though.
Right, that's a good point.
Is that like gymnastics where no one's really ever actually a perfect score?
It's
like
the dead loop.
Actually Bob Kendrick.
It's the dead loop. They had to take it out. It's too good. It's too dangerous.
That's a good point.
If you try and dress, it's too dangerous. You can't get there.
Yeah, you're just gonna fall short. What's the point? I mean,
the
I
mustache combo too with the hat of Bob Kendrick. He's so classy.
Well, I think when he goes to bed, he just takes the best off. Otherwise, everything else stays on.
I do wonder what his pajamas look like. I bet he's got the nicest pajamas in the world.
Cashmere.
I mean, just beautiful pajamas. I don't know that has that guy ever put on shorts and a t-shirt? Like, has he ever just walked around in just shorts and a t-shirt?
No one has ever seen his legs or his forearms because they're just covered with beautiful cloth.
Best dressed man I think I've ever seen.
Have you ever seen the top of his head? It's always a gorgeous, like what is that? A Cubana hat, Havana hat?
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Sure.
What the technical name is. It's a great hat.
Yeah, hat. I'll just call it like a nice little top hat.
Yeah, but then you think ball cap.
Well, no, like a top hat. That's not a Kango. Like,
as long as we're not talking about the top of my head. I mean, I'm follically challenged, so it's an issue.
It happens. But Kendall Gammon is with us.
It's a Panama hat.
Panama.
There we go.
I knew it was somewhere down in that area.
Dylan's got it going on.
Panama hat, Panama. You should have known that. They named the song after the hat.
The Uruguay hat, Peru hat. I was getting close.
Right.
I was going to get there eventually.
Kangaroo hat. How long have you been an ambassador, Kendall? I was thinking about this the other day.
A couple years after I retired,
Really?
I got in. I wasn't as active then because I was so involved in the broadcast and everything going on. But I'm the president-elect now. So like Dana Hughes is the president, and after his term goes off, I'll come up there and. With it, but it's a great organization. I mean, we're out there doing all kinds of different things, charity-wise, and you were fortunate enough. I texted you, said, could I come in and talk about our gala we have going on, and you're like, sure, have at it, and it's awesome. I mean, last year with the Paladin, that's the thing. This gala that we're having, it's at the Abbott. It is on May 29th, 6 to 9. It's a Thursday evening. And last year we partnered with them as well, and actually managed to raise $125,000 for a police athletic league there in Kansas City, Missouri. And I mean, I don't know how much you guys know about PAL, but just a wonderful organization in terms of the different sports they have. You know, I'll tell. You know, I have one story where they had a clothing drive this year, just recently, but they had one last year, and we brought everything, the ambassadors to a meeting, and they took it, and. Christine Lentz, who's with Don Julian Builders, she is the she's the chair of the board, the PAL board, and she told me a story how one boy came in there, big kid, and he came out and he had a size 15 shoes, and he had a pair, and he was about to cry, and she's like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Well, I normally don't have shoes. And, 15s are kind of hard to get." Yeah. Well, they were mine because I had several pair. Sometimes it's hard to pry them away from me. I'm getting better now, and so I'd put like 8 or 9 pairs in there, and they were like, "Go in and get them all," because lots of times he didn't have them. I mean, it's stories like this. These some of these kids that underserved and youth, they need help. They need some of the things that really PAL just does a great job with.
So I've actually helped out with this auction a couple years now.
Yep.
My mom's the auctioneer for this, and so we've helped out. She's going to be here. I'll be here, I believe, as well for this one, helping with the auction team. It is such a cool event. The Abbott does a great job hosting it. And again, it's just all for a great cause. It's really cool seeing all the. I think the Hunt family was there last year or 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
2 years. Yeah.
It's a really cool event for a great cause, and I love being there every single year. It's a blast.
Yeah.
And the Abbott does a great job because the Abbott's such a phenomenal
venue. It's a good venue
for all of this.
And it's nice. If you want to get more information, you can go to kcpal.org. I would have the address on the Chiefs site to go to, except my printer ran out of ink, and so it didn't print in red. So it's not here.
You can go to kcambassadors.myshopify.com to sponsor a table.
There you go.
And
Thank
you can check out other different ways with KC Ambassadors to go and help out with some of those things if you want a sponsorship and be a part of this in any way to give back to the PAL.
And I'll tell one more story. This one really gets to me. Christine told me about it. It was they noticed a kid that was coming in after school and doing things. He was a bigger kid and pretty good athlete. And this was several years back, and they were thinking about starting a football program at the time, and they thought he might be interested. And so some of them in a cop car actually were driving when they saw him on the street. Now, when he saw the car, he just instantly started running. He thought he was in trouble. He had no reason to, but except that's how it is. And, of course, this helps build relationships through the police department and some of the underserved youth. But they finally caught up to him and said, "Hey, you're not in trouble, but, what do you think about playing football and everything?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm interested. That would be fun." They're like, "Okay, well, we just need to get, a signature from your mom or your dad to okay everything." And he's just like, he kind of hung his head. He's like, "Well, okay, then I can't." They're like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, his dad wasn't in his life, and then what he went on to explain was things were so bad at his home with his mom's house that he decided going out on his own was the best chance for survival. So he was just living on the streets, and I mean, they helped rectify that and get some things going. When you hear stories like that, if you're not moved by stories like that, then you're just not a very good human being, quite honestly. And I know everybody is, but man, there's more stories like that. And then the other thing, I think Stephen St. John was very active in PAL growing up as well, in the boxing program. Of course, Stephen St. John, we know who he is, but when I was there and visited this last year, I was amazed that down below they did a whole renovation. They have a boxing ring. They probably have 15, 20 heavy bags. And when I was in, every single person there, it was young ladies and girls, and they were learning to box, and they were having a blast. And it was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that's really. I'll be honest with you. I feel kind of embarrassed for the ignorance of not knowing much about the PAL, the Police Athletic League, because obviously doing more research since you were going to come on and learning more and more about them, of the things that they do. Because if it would have been Police Athletic League, I would have been dumb enough to say, so is it like the police officers get together and play basketball together, or they play football together? Like they have an athletic league for police officers, really dumb, right?
Prison hoops. It's prison hoops for the officers.
And
now.
just not knowing.
We used to call it prison hoops.
Prison rules.
There used to actually be a court, right? But there's a police station. What's it right by the station here, like 123rd? It's kind of tucked away. And it's a police station. They used to have a basketball court, and no one knew about it. And so me and some friends from high school, even in college, we'd go and play basketball there. Okay. We'd call it prison hoops because we thought it was hilarious, even though it was you're in Leawood at a non-prison. It's just where the cops would hang out, and so we
funny. But you're a trendsetter.
Trendsetter. It's called prison hoops.
Yes, that's awesome. But I would have been dumb enough to say that would be my answer as to that. But then learning about all of the different things that they do and the underserved youth, it's such a cool organization.
It really is.
And being able to give back. Has this been the Chiefs ambassadors and PAL, has this been a long relationship? Is it every year you guys switch out different organizations and charities and things like that?
We used to do this event, and it just went into our coffers, and then we distributed the money where we saw fit. Then last year, or I guess 2 years ago, after the tragedy that happened at the parade, I think it was Bill Moss, who's of course going into the Ring of Honor. He had this idea of, what do you think about us just doing our gala this year and giving the proceeds to PAL? And we voted on it as an organization, and we just thought that was a great idea. So this is the second year. It'll probably continue for a little bit, but we'll probably think about doing other charities as well. But each guy that's in the Kansas City Ambassadors, we have the ability to give out a certain amount of money to certain charities that we want, and then we continue to just do different goodwill opportunities around the Kansas City metro area.
So at the gala, let me ask from this standpoint, because people want to give back, but also I want to give back, but boy, that'd be a cool experience. What goes on at the gala? Are all the Chiefs ambassadors there? Is there interaction with all of these Chiefs legends and everything?
There is. There's a live and silent auction. A lot of great gifts. Obviously, a lot of stuff from the Chiefs.
Who does a live auction though? I wonder. I'm not sure who would do who would possibly do the live auction. I don't know.
Any idea?
You'll just have to find out when you get there.
Tana Guthrie Auctions.
Okay,
and
very cool.
My middle name's Guthrie. It's crazy. I wonder who that is.
How would you possibly know that off the top?
And I wonder if I'm part of the auction team. I wonder if I'll be there.
God, I hope not. Well, you can interact with him. But
I was there last year in a red suit, and Dante, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, and Dante Hall came up to me.
Dante was there last year.
It was last year. And Dante was like, man, that is a great suit, because it was all red. So I'm like, if Dante likes it, I'm good. I'm good.
Dante. Come on, buddy.
Yes.
But all the same.
See, if you go to the gala, you could also get a compliment from Dante Hall.
There you go. Absolutely. I was around him last night. Went to the Royals game, and we had our meeting there as ambassadors. Very nice of the Royals to host us, and Dante was there as well. He's very active with a lot of things. But back to your original point. Yeah, each table, it's a table of 8 for $5,000. Then you'll have an ambassador there with you and their wife, significant other, guest, whoever it may be. If it's Bobby Bell, just keep a hold of your quarters, because you'll never get him if you try to. If you don't know that, just come ask me sometimes what that is about. But same
at the gala, ask Kendall about it.
Gala, yeah, absolutely. Yep. So wonderful thing.
That's really cool. So that's coming up on May 29th. At the Abbott from 6 to 9. And again, you can go to kcpal.org. And not only that, but you can see all the different things that KC Pal has coming up, like an event with Chicken and Pickle in June and some other things as well. So just a way to give back, but certainly with the Chiefs ambassadors. You're now the president-elect of the ambassadors?
Yes.
So
do you guys all go into a room and you have to wait for the white smoke to go, and then Kendall Gammon emerges
it's the first American Chiefs ambassador president-elect.
Well, I was curious. I wanted to know what was going on because I couldn't be there for the vote, so I just started snapping balls at the door until it just broke down, and they finally, just humor.
Couldn't be part of the conclave that was in there to elect. How was the were there negative campaign ads towards like Dana Hughes and stuff like?
Kendall Gammon.
Going back.
Do you trust this man to lead your ambassadors?
Well, how upside down is this man?
Well, basically, it was just like, is your number 83? Because if it's not, you can't be president.
That's a good point.
Because Dana was 83 as well.
Would you rather a man that saw life from the ground up, or looked at life through his legs? Kendall Gammon isn't set to lead.
There's some jokes there. Incidentally, by the way,
I'm Danon Hughes, and I approve this message.
Danon actually was a part of PAL in New Jersey growing up as well. Cool. So he's a big spokesman for it also.
That's really cool. Kendall Gammon is our guest with us. I wanted to get your thoughts on this draft class. What you think of and take away from these 7 picks that the Chiefs ended up getting. And
can I wait 2 or 3 years to tell you?
That's what I said.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I said.
No, I thought it was fine. I didn't pay an unbelievable amount of interest to it. I did think the first round pick was who I was hoping for, and I thought it made sense. Nice. I think the risk versus reward is great with that. And, Rick Burkholter and that whole staff there. Mm-hmm. Of course, he was my first trainer when I was with the Steelers, so I've known him since 1992, 93. I think they do a great job. But in general, a lot of people say you don't know until that second year. I think it's more the third year before you really get into this league, and unless you're just an exceptional athlete, which is why it took me 3 years. It wouldn't be the former, but it's hard to know until you put the pads on and everything going on.
What would Kendall Gammon of 2025 go back and tell Kendall Gammon coming out of Pitt State, entering his first training camp?
He would say, oh boy, I don't know.
About
Is
NFL
that what he would say? I
or
don't know, or?
as a rookie, or what to expect, or like, because these rookies are going to go in like wide-eyed and like, it's the first time I'm going to be in St. Joe at the Dorm. First time I'm going to be going through the chow line. First time I'm doing this and that.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest one. I knew better, so I was good. But if I were talking to rookies, it'd be like, just keep your mouth shut.
Keep your head down.
Yeah, speak when spoken to, and that's what I did. And if somebody tells you to carry the helmets, just carry the damn helmets, and just do what you do. Have it, and certainly now I would say, well, this kind of goes with what's been going on this week. When I came to Kansas City, so it's going back a little bit, but and not my rookie year, but when I came to Kansas City, my number in New Orleans was 86. So I got here and I asked Mike Davidson, the equipment manager, said, "Can I have 86?" He goes, "I'm sorry, you can't. Buck Buchanan, I think it was, whatever." That
and then
just-
you said, "Well,
that
can
just
I talk
doesn't
to
work."
Buck?
and I said, "Oh, well, of course." I'm like, "Well, what?" Then I said, "Well, what number can I have?" And he goes, "Well, would you like 83?" I said, "Yeah." So that's fine.
Yeah.
So you know what? Don't ask for a
Retired
number that's
numbers.
retired. When I heard that, I almost had to pull over so I wouldn't wreck. I'm like, "You got to be kidding me."
Yeah.
Hear me out, though.
Hear him out.
The player should get a lot of the blame for this, but I think the team first and foremost deserves the majority of it because
True.
because the
Fair.
team should immediately shut it down and say, "No, that number's retired."
Yeah.
Having it like, well, if you reach out to him,
Well, let
see
me-
what he says.
See,
the team should never put the former player in that situation. If it's a retired number, it's retired. That's what it means.
Right.
It means you can't use it. It doesn't mean that in 20 years, or if you're a top 5 draft pick, you can go ahead and ask the guy. No,
Only if you're a top 5 draft
like
pick.
it drives me insane that the team doesn't have.
You seem like you're on the fence with this.
I just get so angry at the team for even entertaining
enough.
a player because it makes the player then have to come out and say it when the team should immediately say, "Hey, Abdul Carter, we love you, but pave your own path."
Well,
Right.
I agree with that, with the team part of it. I don't know if, because it mentioned his agent reached out and got in contact with Lawrence Taylor through intermediaries. Did the Giants even know that
The Giants should tell every single
Well,
player,
yeah, right.
these are the retired numbers.
Yeah.
Don't reach out. Don't be a dumbass.
But I mean, was Abdul, because it sounded like it was like the first weekend, like the draft took place first weekend, and then he reaches out to Lawrence
Can
Taylor
the
through
agent?
Drew Rosenhaus, really?
Yeah, bad
exactly
call.
right. Yeah.
Yes,
can
you know
happen.
what? Yes, and have him come to.
So yeah, if the team was aware, then I am totally with you. Like the team shuts that down immediately, squashes that. Well, no, you're not getting 56. It's just not happening. But if it's the team finds out that, did you reached out to Lawrence Taylor and they're like, you could have come talk to us and we could have told you no.
Well,
even if Lawrence Taylor told you yes, we're going to tell you no. Like that
Yes.
might have even been the answer from John Mayer and the Giants. But no, you're not wearing it, even though he said yes.
I personally don't think you have a grip on reality if you're asking that question as a player coming into the league. I mean,
Yep.
and I think that's just a change in the mindset of players coming in this day and age.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that's but I think there's always guys that would have done that. I think there's a lot of guys now that would say, I'm not even touching that number. I also think because of social media and because of it's more publicized now that we know when they do that.
Fair enough.
I do.
I think- I agree.
I do think because there's a lot of guys who I think that would never even question that. They would never even consider doing that. But we don't hear those because
Right.
no one cares. No,
Yeah,
everyone would just
exactly.
go, well, that's the way. Well, of course.
Yeah.
And then so you hear the guy that does ask for it, and because we live in an era where that's publicized now, and
Also, his agent shut it down. Like, well, no, you're not going to.
yeah, because
Exactly.
I'm sure there was guys back in the day, and maybe I'm wrong, Kendall, but I'm sure there's a guy. You're telling me if Dion wanted a number, he wouldn't have had the mindset of no, I want.
Right.
And
Agreed.
maybe that's a bad example, but I'm sure there was a guy,
Yeah.
or two.
Yeah. We do have to take a break. Kendall Gammon, kcpal.org. The KC Ambassadors, the gala coming up on May 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. Live auction, silent auction. You get to interact with the ambassadors that are there. Congratulate Kendall on his president-elect. When do you take over?
Not for another year and a half or so. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Let's see if we can get Danon out of office
Yeah,
soon. I mean, come on, man.
But there could be
What do
some,
we gotta-
there
what
could
do
be
we-
some scandal by
Yeah,
then. Who
let's
knows
dig
if
up
I'm
some
Round
ever
up a
gonna
bunch of
get
people,
there.
and we'll go to Arrowhead Stadium and
Dig
just
up some dirt.
Overtake
Oh,
it.
my
Yes,
goodness.
let's dig some dirt up on Dana. Let's go, Danon. Let's go, Danon.
The dirt's
come
my
on.
the dirt's my backyard.
Okay,
So
yeah,
we can all,
maybe,
everyone grab
maybe.
a shovel
Let's
and
go.
we'll go because
Let's go find these things about Danon Hughes. Huh? Let's
Where's
figure
the
these-
Viking hat?
Oh, boy.
No, but congratulations on the president-elect.
Well,
for
it
the,
is what it is.
for the-
That shouldn't even come out. I don't
for
know.
the,
You
for
asked,
the
I guess, so it is what it is.
ambassadors.
But
that is true.
thank you. I really appreciate y'all giving us a chance to come on and talk about this because it's great.
Absolutely.
There's still a limited number of tables available. Come. It's a great time.
kcpal.org, kcambassadors.myshopify.com to check out how you can get part of these tables that every single table you get to sit with one of the Chiefs ambassadors.
Yeah.
So you might be there with the president of the whole dang thing, and that being Kendall Gammon. So we will, Kendall, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks.
We'll take a time out. We'll wrap up this hour. We got Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. More Zone next. this hour. Sports or Leisure coming up in the next hour. Again, that is kcambassadors.myshopify.com, and you can go and check out how you can get a table for this fantastic event. kcpal.org, kcpal.org, kcpal.org to get more information on all of the different things that PAL does and what and where your money, your donations, and sponsoring a table or being there at the gala will go to. And the live auction, silent auction, things like that, that'll be a part of it.
It is a really cool event. Again, I've done it multiple years, a lot of fun, a lot of great former Chiefs there, too.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome, too. Sports or Leisure coming up next.
you're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, some sports or leisure here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 913-381-810 is the phone number to be a part of the show to play some sports or leisure. 913-381-810. First in, first on for sports or leisure. It is presented by Johnny's Tavern. 10 area locations, including Lawrence and Topeka. Great pizza. Love the Wilson wings, Espinachos, burgers, all of it there at Johnny's Tavern. Great spot to watch the game. NBA games going on. Pirates have fired their manager. You can go watch a managerless Pirates team there at Johnny's Tavern. That's fine, too. Whatever you're into. I'm not sure. But Johnny's Tavern, $25 we give away. You can play some sports or leisure here on a Thursday on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Here's how you play. You give us a call. As I said, 913-381-810. You get a sports question, you get a leisure question, you get them both right. You win. Either of them wrong, you lose. But the question out there available for someone to call in and request if they know the answer to it, if they've had some time to figure it out in some way, shape, or form, whatever. We give out the right answer when it is either answered correctly or we have simply run out of time to play. That's how we play the sports or the leisure. Shall we go through categories, Sterling?
I would love to.
We shall. We have some questions left over from the We Are Witnesses around Robert Baseball Witt. That's his middle name. Robert Baseball Witt, BBW. Well, his RBW. RBIs is what he does. We're moving on. Chiefs draft is also.
How do you not mark that, Dylan? Are you kidding me?
He already marked it. We're just trying to move on from it, Sterling.
I heard it.
His head was down, and he's the fastest hands in the West.
Oh yeah, my entire energy left after that too. Chiefs draft as well. We've got that. So We Are Witnesses and Chiefs draft.
But not with Heartland's Men Health.
Why is his nickname Baseball? That's so stupid to have a middle name of
Your energy
Baseball.
wouldn't leave you if you still had Heartland Men's Health there,
That's
Jason.
stupid. All right, leisure on the leisure side with Sterling. What are the categories?
Yacht Rock, baby.
Oh, wow. What's that?
Yacht Rock.
What's
we will
Yacht Rock?
give Yacht Rock songs. You give me the band. If you know Yacht Rock, you get it. If you don't know Yacht Rock, well, you should listen to it. You know Yacht Rock. Come on. The weather is warming up. It's beautiful. It's Yacht Rock.
So if you don't know what Yacht Rock is, do not ask for that particular category.
Probably not.
Pretty much everybody knows what Yacht Rock is, but, if you're not familiar with it, then choose a different category on the leisure side.
Sports nicknames. Bringing back sports nicknames. For example,
Bobby Baseball.
Bobby Baseball. Who was that?
Don't call him Robert Baseball.
Bobby
or do
Witt
call him
Jr.
Robert Baseball. It's better to go with the initials of Robert Baseball Witt.
And if you don't like sports nicknames or Yacht Rock, well,
then
I'm not happy with you, but use potpourri.
Okay.
We'll have potpourri.
Potpourri is a category today. So we've got the witnesses, we got the Chiefs draft, we've got the Yacht Rock, we got the potpourri, and we have the
sports
nicknames. Name that athlete by his nickname or her nickname. I don't want to give away any questions or answers you may have. All right, 913-381-810. I'm ready to play. Without further ado, mercifully. Sterling, you ready to go?
I am always
Oh,
ready.
See, there you go. You're not ready.
I can't
Dylan,
talk.
you ready? Oh, yeah. So thrown off by the intro there. All right, let's just head to the phone lines. We bring in Matt here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt, sports or leisure? What side would you like to start with, sir?
Let's go with sports and Chiefs draft.
All right, sports, Chiefs draft. Let's do this one. In the history of the franchise, the Chiefs have drafted 5 players with at least 80 sacks in their Chiefs career. 80 sacks in their Chiefs career. Besides Derek Thomas, who were the other 4? Besides DT, 80 sacks in their Chiefs. 80 sacks as a Chief is a pretty significant number. They've drafted 5 players with at least 80 sacks as a Chief. Because they've drafted 6 players that in their career ended up having 80 sacks, at least 80 sacks. But only 5 of those came while wearing Chiefs uniform.
How about? Man, I feel like he did this. I just don't. Wow.
Besides Derek
How
Thomas.
about Justin Houston?
Justin Houston definitely got there. He is one of them for sure.
There are a couple guys. I don't know if they did it with the Chiefs or if they did it with their second team. I feel like. Has Chris Jones gotten there
Chris
yet?
Jones has surpassed 80 sacks for his career. Nice
Wow.
job.
What's that,
There's
83?
2. That's why the threshold might have been 80. I don't know. Not sure. There's 2, and now a couple more. Couple more.
I don't remember if he played anywhere else. So I'm going to try Tamba Ali.
Tamba Ali got to like 89 or 90.
80 and a half, by the way, Chris Jones, 80 and a half.
There you go, 80 and a half. And one more. One more. Not named Derek Thomas. Man, you get this one right, you'll hit a home run.
Yeah.
So, yep.
You'll get this one. You should get this one.
If you just breathe right.
Hitting the home run was a good.
Breathe right through it and hit this home run, man. Get it right.
We'll go with Neil Smith.
Neil Smith is correct. Nice job, Neil Smith. Were you thinking of maybe Jared Allen along the way in whether or not he got? Yeah.
Didn't know if he did it with the Chiefs.
He did not.
So
get to
he's
80.
number 6, but he's
the
drafted,
6th.
but not on the.
He's the 6th player they drafted to get at least 80 sacks in their career. He's the only one that did not get at least 80 sacks with the Chiefs specifically. So there you go. Nice job. That's a winner out of the gates from the sports side. On the leisure side, and that's a tough question too. On the leisure side, let's see what Sterling has for you.
Potpourri, yacht rock, or sports nicknames?
Let's go with sports nicknames.
Sports nicknames. Who was the truth? Played basketball. Yeah, Paul Pierce nailed it. I was just gonna say he's in the media right now.
He was lying yesterday about who was going to win last night,
and so
flat out lies. Ain't
he's
no truth
doing
in
it.
that.
I saw the last video, and he was 4 miles into his.
So did he really walk there?
Apparently, he was in a robe, and he was.
Was he barefoot though?
I don't know if he's barefoot
because I don't want to. I mean, I think I'd give him some leeway on the barefoot if he's got to be walking on the
yeah,
street
I'd give him
or
shoes.
You know, whatever.
Give him shoes.
You know, cut his feet by doing that. Although he did say barefoot. So interesting.
That's a winner.
He was doing that. There you go. Matt, we'll put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir. Just that easy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. There you go. So he did. Okay. So if you missed it, Paul Pierce yesterday guaranteed a Celtics victory, said there's no way they are losing. Bet your house on it. Put the house on it. No way they're losing. He also said you got a better chance of leaving the studio and seeing a dinosaur out there than you do of the Celtics losing. And then he said he would walk to work the 15 miles in his robe, bare feet, if the Celtics were to lose. Celtics lost. And by the way, Keyshawn Johnson tried to give him an out, tried to let him hedge. He's like, you mean the series, right? He's like, you mean if they lose the series, right? Nope, this game. Give yourself the series, man. This game.
It's 20 miles. He did a thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this
So
is the video.
So it was 20
3
miles.
hours ago. He goes, "This is crazy, dog. I can't believe this. He's got me out here like this. I'm sweating. I'm about 4 miles in right now. I got another 16 miles." He's in a robe, so that's a thick robe.
Well, here's the thing. Celtics didn't have him out there. He did.
He had himself out there.
Celtics played a game.
And apparently Kevin Garnett drove past him driving to the studio.
Hell
That's
yes.
amazing.
Hell yes. They should all have carpooled. And
I'll give him credit, though, for actually doing that, though. That's pretty darn funny.
Yeah, you would hope he would. You lose a lot of respect if
20 miles.
If you don't do that. Well,
He's not getting to work.
All right, to the phone lines we go. 913-381-0810. Avery next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Avery, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's rock this yacht.
All right. Ooh. Okay. Steal away. Why don't you steal away? Steal away. Why don't...
Oh, you got me. Have a good weekend.
Wait, what? Please tell me he didn't hang up.
No, he didn't hang up, but are you going to give him 17 more hints? It's Avery, man.
Oh, man. Oh, I tried to give you the hard one, and that was the hardest one.
Oh, we know. No, he hung up. He definitely hung up. He's out.
He didn't hang up.
Steal away. Did you want to look at the call board? There's nobody on that line.
I can't see it, actually. I can't see it.
He's gone, man. So there you go. That's
Did
going
I
to be a
ruin
question that's out there. No, you did not. I mean, he asked for Yacht Rock.
That's great. He hung up.
And Steal Away is what he got, and he did not know it. So there you go.
Actually, you followed the rules more than you ever have before by just giving him one opportunity instead of like 100.
So I did
you
it.
B-rabbited him
Okay.
finally. One shot, one opportunity. And he had Mom's Spaghetti.
It's a great song.
Right. Let's go to John next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Well, I'm going to take the Yacht Rock question because I actually know that answer. So
Let's go.
all right, that would be Mr. Robbie Dupree.
It is Mr. Robbie Dupree. Wow.
I hate that I know that.
That was maybe the toughest one. That's a hard one. His only song. A lot of these yacht rock ones are multi-faceted. A lot of you've heard these bands before.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Dupree. That's
fun fact about Robbie Dupree in that song, that was a rip-off of Doobie Brothers.
yes, with Michael McDonald.
Yes, another yacht rock song.
What a Fool Believes in. Yeah.
How about that? You guys are just going to sit here and wax all night long. I'm just going to listen. You guys keep going. What else? What other trivia questions about this?
Should we do a yacht rock like theme song? Or like just a whole hour-long show? Because we could do it.
Yeah, I will sit here and watch. I will not be able to participate at all, other than going, wow, that's interesting. Oh, that's really cool. That's
Neat.
interesting. I also haven't heard of that person.
Did you know that Michael McDonald was in roughly 90% of yacht rock songs?
I would have guessed Michael McDonald would have played a sport. I would have said Michael McDonald. What's he? Is he a hockey player?
That's Ronald.
That's not a sport, though. That's a man that gives out lots of cheeseburgers.
You've been in the ball pit.
Over 1 million sold at one point. All right, onto the sports side, John. We've got the witnesses, and we have Chiefs draft.
Well, as much as I'd like to do the witnesses, I think I'm going to have to go to the Chiefs draft.
All right, very good. Let's go with this one. Jalen Royals, he's the second player drafted by Brett Veach from Utah State. Who's the only other player Brett Veach drafted from Utah State?
Oh,
now,
gracious.
I will tell you, he is not an unknown. He was a later draft pick. He had one of the more significant plays of the 2019 Super Bowl run and is also in the box score for the 2019 Super Bowl /20, the one that they beat the 49ers the first go-around. Utah State.
Oh, gosh.
It is a tough one, I know.
Significant. I'm just thinking out loud, like Jared McKinnon maybe, or who was that running back, oh, Lordy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Rashad Fenton. That's who I thought it was at first.
It's definitely not Rashad Fenton. But, yes, John?
No, who is he? He sat out the COVID year. Am I on the right track?
Not him. He went to Oklahoma.
Oh.
Damian Williams.
Oh, okay.
And he was a free agent. But you're on the right track of that. If that makes sense.
I'm totally, oh, man. Gosh.
I'll say he was the beneficiary of right place, right time by somebody else's significant play in that run. Maybe in one of the greatest historic comebacks we've ever seen in postseason history.
Right time, right place. Oh my gosh, it's the
yes,
the guy in the kickoff, kickoff that got the fumble.
Yeah,
and he
there you go.
took it in, and I got that's close enough, right? He's got a name. I know he's got a name.
You're getting there. You're getting there. I mean. I'll tell you this much. I mean, the fact that he even survived to get to the NFL would make his first name appropriate.
And on that kickoff return, he forgot he was in the NFL because he thought the play was dead when he got the fumble.
Yep. Yeah.
Good golly. Oh, man. I'm thinking, I know I'm gosh, I know I'm going to end up just kicking myself because I've seen the play. I mean, I've seen the play.
Well, he was named after a certain theory that would say, you know what? He lived up to it with the fact that with his first name.
He evolved into a pretty good player.
And he survived all the way to the NFL.
Oh my gosh. Gosh.
I know you can picture him. Now that we know who it is, he's also the only other person to get a carry that postseason run, besides Damian Williams, and that came in the Super Bowl. By the way,
forgot about that too.
Yep, that was in the Super Bowl, and it was right after the Rose Bowl right play when they did a little spin twirl on 4th down. They gave it to Damian Williams up to the 1. Damian Williams came out of the game. This guy came in, carried the ball, no gain. He was that close. He was that close, 1st and goal from the 1, to scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl, like a Kadarius Toney or a Sky or like a Sky Moore. You know what I mean? Like do nothing, but then you've got a Super Bowl touchdown.
Sky Moore also, that was his first career NFL and only career NFL touchdown, I think. Oh no, my bad. I think he has one more.
No, I think he's only got one.
I
think Sky Moore
only
has
only
one.
first and only.
Yeah, I think he only has one touchdown. All right, so now you got to throw a dart.
Oh, so Thompson.
And yep, and well, you got the last name right, so I'll go with that. But the first name also was named after the theory of him surviving of the fittest, and also sort of the evolution of that position in the NFL. So, but you got it right.
Darwin.
You got
Darwin.
It's Darwin.
Oh my gosh.
Darwin Thompson is the man that was drafted from Utah State. We got there, everybody. Darwin Thompson, drafted from Utah State. And you are right. It was a great job that you got he recovered the fumble on the kickoff return that popped up in the air. And Mitch Holtis said he was running on Tulsa time because he's an Oklahoma kid.
Yeah.
So he's running on Tulsa time from Utah State, Darwin Thompson. So nice job. He had 2 touchdowns in his career rushing with the Chiefs. And he was 1st and goal at the 1-yard line carry and no gain, stuffed at the 1. That was then Patrick Mahomes did the option to the right that then scored the touchdown. But so close to Darwin Thompson scoring that touchdown. On to Leisure with Sterling, right? That was only one? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got the Yacht Rock. There we go. John, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
All right, thanks. Robbie Dupree rocks.
He earned that.
Nice.
He earned that. Robbie Dupree and then Darwin Thompson. What a pull.
I mean, right? I mean, that's pretty like.
Give him 2.
Look, here's the thing.
Give him 2, Dylan.
Brett Veach drafts you in the 5th or let's say 6th round, or 4th or let's say 6th round from Utah State, you're going to get yourself a ring. At least he's 1 for 1 in doing that. Let's go to Shane next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Shane, what side would you like to start with, the sports side or the leisure side?
Hey, guys. Sports, what did you say? You have a category called Witnesses?
Yeah, well, it's based off the Bobby Witt hit streak that he had going on. So it's based off his name being Witt. So it's different streaks around the Royals and things like that, or questions that are inspired by Bobby Witt. So there's that question, that category too.
All right, I'll try that one.
All right, very good. So this one came up on the broadcast a few days ago. Bobby Witt got to 1,000 total bases in his career in 500 games. It's the fastest in Royals history. Who did he pass? By 36 games, too. 536 games, and Bobby Witt did it in 500 games. In his 500th game, exactly. So, Sterling, quick math. How many total bases per game did he have to average for 500 games to get to 1,000?
12.
That's exactly right. Well done. 6,000 total bases in 500 games. Who would have thought?
So you're saying he got? So who do you pass on that list?
Yep. Which Royal was the fastest to get to 1,000 total bases? They talked about it on the broadcast. I think we mentioned it a couple times, but significant player for the Royals. I can tell you, he did not play as many years with the Royals as Bobby Witt will. He and Bobby will have different career trajectories based on a contract being signed.
I'm
say
sorry,
that.
I didn't pay attention to the question.
I know that's fine.
Yeah.
It's your eyes were glazed over. You were
I was
listening.
glazed.
You were looking up yacht rock.
I was.
I get it. It's fine. There was a lot of glazing of this guy too back in the day because he was a fantastic player, really, really good player. Sterling thought he was going into the Royals Hall of Fame instead of Alex Gordon.
I did. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So he played outfield. What you trying to tell me?
He did play outfield.
I can't believe they
played it very well.
They switched.
Played it very well.
Okay. I'll just say, was it Carlos Beltran?
It was Carlos Beltran, 536 games. Beltran, with 536, Beltran beat out George Brett, who had 574. But then Whit Merrifield had 552. Did not beat Carlos Beltran, but did surpass George Brett. And Mike Sweeney at 588. So those are your top five. Bobby Witt with 500 games, Beltran 536, Whit Merrifield 552, George Brett 574, Mike Sweeney 588 for 1,000 total bases. Over to Leisure with Sterling.
We have Yacht Rock, we have sports nicknames, and we have potpourri.
Potpourri.
I'm intrigued by Yacht Rock. Sure, let's try that.
Let's go into Yacht Rock. We will go with
go.
Who sang "Biggest Part of Me" and "How Much I Feel"? How much I feel.
Biggest part of me. I just made that up. I don't know. Is that the melody?
I was trying to sing that song to myself too.
Yeah, I have no idea.
They're great. I'll sing it for
up.
you.
He'll sing it. He's
Biggest part of me.
Yeah, I don't want to sing it because I'm not a good singer.
You're fine. Todd was rapping yesterday, so it's all good, man. You're fine. Are you going to sing it or not, Sterling?
No.
Okay, well, there
Yeah, I
you
was
go.
gonna say.
I was waiting for him to sing it, too.
No, I'm not
Shane,
singing.
I'm with you, man. You and I were on the same page, and I'm in the room with him.
You know how much I feel.
All right, so.
How much I feel.
I think I know that song, but I don't know the name.
You know, you think of a really popular yacht rock band. I mean, they got a lot of songs.
Yeah, I'll just throw one out.
I
think the song I'm thinking of is a different song. Yeah, I think the band I'm thinking of maybe like it's not.
Well, who are you thinking
that's
of?
what I got.
Throw it out
Who
there.
you thinking of? Yeah.
Is better to give a guess.
Yeah, the Bee Gees, which I don't think they did the yacht rock.
It's not, but you're close. It's not the B. It starts with an A.
Oh, the Agees.
It's not Asia, I bet.
It's
So
not.
I'm done.
Oh, it's
Sorry.
not
I
Asia.
got nothing.
Shane, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. Well done on the Beltran question as well. So you knocked that one out. 913-810-810. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling and playing some sports or leisure. More coming up next.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com, in the 810 mobile app, or by subscribing to The Zone wherever you get your podcast.
Your 913-381-0810. It's presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 we give away to Johnny's Tavern. We give it away only if you win it. You know what I mean? You got to win it to get it. Give it away, give it away, give it away now that you got sports and a leisure question right is what we do. 913-381-0810. Let's reset the categories. I've got the Chiefs draft. We got a couple of questions left from that. We got the We Are Witnesses category, Royals streaks and records and things like that, or things based off of Bobby Witt, as we're witnesses. What about on the leisure side, Sterling? Reset those categories.
We have sports nicknames. We have Yacht Rock. One of those is still out there. And we have Potpourri.
Potpourri. All right, 913-381-0810 to the phone lines we go. Scott next up on Sports Radio 810. Scott, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Leisure.
Yes. Do you want the one that's out there? Do you want a different category, or what do you want?
Yeah, let me get that Ambrosia question.
Nice.
Yeah, Ambrosia.
Well done. No, he wants the Ambrosia. Can you give him the Ambrosia question, please?
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, give it to him.
That's probably all the time we got before we get popped by the FCC.
I don't even know that Dylan would be able to even hear
I don't know
it.
if anyone could hear that, but
didn't even go out over the air.
Jason and I were vibing in here.
You heard our snaps.
Rock
You heard the snaps. That's about it. All right, on to the sports side. We Are Witnesses and Chiefs draft. What say you?
Chiefs draft.
All right. Brett Veach has done a really good job of drafting in his time with the Chiefs, but there have been 3 draft picks that did not make the 53-man roster the year that they were drafted. Name 2. The year they were drafted did not make the 53-man roster.
Does that include the practice squad or just the 53?
Just didn't make the 53. They could be on the practice squad, but they did not make. They were a draft pick, and they did not make the 53-man roster. It's happened with 3 players. And we actually said all 3 of these guys earlier in the show. I think in the noonish hour, maybe the 11ish hour. Either way. But just 2 of them did not make the initial roster under Brett Veach. So Kavari Russell would not count here.
And we named all 3 of these.
And by the way, that was Russell was a 3rd rounder. These guys are not
that's
third.
crazy.
These guys are day 3 picks.
Clemson guy, too.
And a Texas guy. And a Tennessee guy. All SEC, except for, Clemson not being in the SEC. So that means they're not all SEC. They're SEC and wannabe SEC, you know what I mean? Anyway.
Cornell Powell.
Cornell Powell is one of them. He was a 5th rounder in 2021, did not make the initial 53-man roster, but has hung out with the practice squad for a while now. And then either of the most recent 2, since Cornell Powell, there have been a couple. Both of them 6-rounders, by the way.
We talked about the 6 rounds.
Yeah, both of them 6-rounders. Interesting. And so this year, Brett Veach said, I'm not even going to draft a 6-rounder. Neither of those guys.
The guy, they switched him. He was a lineman. His dad was the Raiders.
He actually, I think he made the practice squad. I think he was released the next year. So that was Khalil McKenzie, but these 2 are since Cornell Powell. So he was drafted before Cornell. Cornell was in the 2021 draft.
And it's not Harvard.
So these players have been drafted since Cornell Powell. That's exactly right, yeah.
Or Yale. Yeah.
Nope, or Brown. Or Penn.
6-rounders.
One did go to both these guys for SEC schools.
One guy was pretty high on. One was a cornerback.
One is from an SEC school that was in the Big 12.
Yeah, because
it is now Texas. In the right. Yeah, Texas. It was in the Big 12, but
one
it's an SEC
was
school.
I thought going to be a run stopper, and one
Did you?
And one was going to be a pretty good corner. He was pretty highly touted coming out of Tennessee.
Tennessee. Would Arrested Development count as Yacht Rock? Sterling, is Arrested Development Yacht Rock?
The show, no.
Mr. Window. All right, throw a dart. Who do you think? Texas, Tennessee, draft pick.
Both their first names have
Day
the
3.
same letter, too.
Day 3. Oh, they do.
The only thing I can think of, I
I thought he was on the team though. Rashad Fenton is
he made it.
but I don't.
He did make the team originally, that 53-man roster. Scott, thank you for playing, sir. We appreciate it. Well done on the Yacht Rock. 913-381-810. Let's go to Tim next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Tim, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Let's do leisure, Yacht Rock.
All right, let's go with Still the One. Still the One. Orleans, nailed it.
Oh, is that new?
Yeah, well, here's the story. You know, as they call Michael McDonald the godfather of Yacht Rock.
Yeah.
Well, I'm his godson.
Oh, nice.
So there.
Is that true?
Is that actually a true thing?
No, gosh, no.
I know. You never know.
Oh, man.
You never know.
I was about to hang out, and we were going to go to Johnny's Tavern together.
We're just going to kick it, man.
I love Michael McDonald. Come on. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
he is epitome of cool.
Don't play with me like that.
Here's the thing, Sterling. You don't have to want to hang out with Tim just so you can get something out of the deal.
I just
You know,
hang out
you can
with Tim.
just,
Tim,
you can
just
just hang
hang
out
out.
with somebody just to be a friend.
Yeah,
But it's
Tim.
oh man,
That's right.
you're the godson of Michael. Let's hang out. I'm just joking. Oh, that's cool. I actually am busy that night. We didn't even set a date.
know what?
I know, I'm
Fine.
just
I'll
that
hang
night.
with Tim.
No, that night I'm actually busy. So I just talked to the wife, and we're not going to be able to make it that night. So that's cool though. But you have fun at Johnny's Tavern. We Are Witnesses and Chiefs Draft. What would you like to go with, sir?
Either We Are Witnesses.
All right, We Are Witnesses. Let's go with name either of the players that hold the Royals record for consecutive games with a home run. It's the same number. 2 players have reached it. And it's not the Royals free space. Neither of them are neither of them the Royals free space.
2 have hit in consecutive games.
Consecutive games, yes. I hope I said that. But
In
consecutive
all-time
games.
history, not just like recent.
Yep, for the Royals, all-time history. 5 is the consecutive game streak with a home run, and 2 different players reached 5.
2 different players, but
So
only
either one.
have to
Yep, either
name
one.
one that's hit in two consecutive.
No, 5 consecutive games.
Oh, we have to. There's 2 that have hit.
There
5
are
consecutive.
2 that have had 5 consecutive home run
Games.
streaks. Yes, and so that's the Royals' record is 5 straight.
5 straight. Ooh, that's going to
And
be
2 different players had 5 straight games with a home run.
I want to go way back.
You don't have to go way back.
Pardon?
You don't have to go way back.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to go back before this century.
Don't go back. What? To the
You don't have to go
previous
back before this century.
century? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, one I think you should get.
Well, you get both of them. I mean, why not? Why can't you get both?
God,
of them?
I don't think it's the guy who tied the all-time record.
I mean, they're both like all-time great Royals.
Yeah, it would have to be, right? Okay.
Well, you never know. Like Jose Offerman's like the career on-base percentage for the Royals.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, it just depends
Small
on
denominator,
what
right?
you did in the amount of time that you become a qualifier for that, the minimal amount of plate appearances or at bats. So, all right, throw a dart. Either of the players, both since
I have to
2000.
go, since 2000, it's got to be Soler.
Man, Soler is not a bad guess. The names do start with S, though. I'm gonna give you one more guess. The names
One more
start with
guess.
S. One more guess. The names start with S.
Royals legend.
Oh, last name start with S.
Or either name.
Or first name. Could be either one.
Whatever they're known by starts with an S.
Salvi?
Salvi is one of them. Nice job. Also, Sweeney.
Tied.
Salvi and Sweeney both had 5
yeah.
consecutive games with a home run. Sweeney and Salvi.
Yeah, I'm
is
no
that a winner?
longer Sweeney's adoptive godson.
Is that well? You're going to Johnny's Tavern. Sterling doesn't want to hang out unless somehow you become the godson of Michael McDonald.
Tim, we can hang out.
Actually, you know what's crazy is Tim's godfather is just a dude named Michael McDonald, not the real one, but just some guy named Mike. They called him Eminem back in the day. Tim, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir.
All
Well
right,
done.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. All right, let's try to see if we can go quick and get some winners here. 913-318-810. T-Box, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Hey, sports, either category, as long as it's from Enix era.
Okay.
Kinda old school.
All right. Boy, none of the Chiefs draft are from Enix era, that's for sure. I'll try to give you this one. You know what? Let's go with this one. Would be a couple from the Enix era. 5 Royals players have multiple streaks of at least 4 consecutive games with a home run. We know Salvi and Sweeney, but 5 Royals players have multiple streaks of at least 4 consecutive games with a home run? Let's go ahead and name 2. I mean, I say name 2 because Solaire's not one of them. Solaire's not one of them. I say name 2 because one of them is the Royals' free space.
Oh, George Brett.
George Brett had 4 different streaks of 4 consecutive games with a home run, and is not the record holder with Salvi and Sweeney because all 4 times he had 4 straight games with a home run. He did not get a home run in the 5th game. The other one would be back in the day, or there's a couple of more recent, or one recent one, and one back in the day.
Yeah, just for time, I'll guess AO, Amos Otis.
AO
Back
is
in the day,
AO
maybe
is
I won't guess him, but-
AO is not correct. You'd be if you go to Johnny's Tavern to get some wings, maybe you'd get something out of your teeth. Is it?
Oh, toothpick, not Onyx Concepcio. No way it was him.
Nope.
It's toothpick.
You know what? I'm wrong. That is not the one. That is not the one. Nope. Because I was thinking UL Washington for a second, but it wasn't UL.
Oh, okay.
But I will give you another guess on those teams. I think he's still around too.
Golly.
Seen him out.
Trying to think.
Back in the day, all the time we used to see him.
I'll just say Steve Balboni for fun.
Yes, it was not Balboni. T-Box, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. One more. Let's see if we can sneak one more in here. Steven wraps us up for Sports or Leisure here as we run out of time. What side, Sports or Leisure side?
Let's go Sports Chiefs draft.
Sports Chiefs draft for you. We got the questions out there about the Brett Veach draft, or we have one other fresh one.
What was that one?
So the one was that Brett Veach has drafted 3 players that did not make the 53-man roster what would have been their rookie year. And I said, name 2. Somebody guessed Cornell Powell, so you would only have to name one of the other 2 that would be remaining. Both of them have been since Cornell Powell.
Since Cornell Powell.
Both 6th rounders.
Both 6th rounders since Cornell Powell's 5th rounder.
And both of their first names start
DeAndre Coburn.
Yes.
DeAndre Coburn, well done. 6th rounder. The other one was Kamal Haddon. Last year, 6th rounder from Tennessee. Leisure with Sterling.
Yacht Rock, Potpourri.
Yacht Rock.
Okay.
Rock out with some yachts.
Let's do it. Okay, what about Spooky or So Into You?
So Into You.
So Into You.
I'm just making that. I just was trying to join you and act like I knew it.
Spooky or So Into You?
Yeah, So Into You. When you want.
I know my rock, the Yacht Rock. I don't know how to say it, but
You'll know these. You'll know these. You're gonna kick yourself. Spooky was also, I think, maybe it's been redone a few times. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you.
Sure.
Spooky.
Great.
Because I'm so into you.
Is it the Atlanta Rhythm section?
Yes!
Nice job. Well done. Well done. We'll put you on hold and get your information. And you happen to be the godson of Michael McDonald. Sterling will join you at Johnny's Tavern. If not, he'll just say enjoy yourself. Steven, thank you for playing, man. $25 Johnny's Tavern heading your way.
Thank you. I love superfectos.
Yes, me too, Steven. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I think I had some conversation with Steven on Twitter as he and I betting the ponies. But yeah, it was a nice day. The answer to the Royals question, a little embarrassing for me in saying toothpick, which is UL Washington. I should have gone with his son made it to the major leagues, Rockhurst kid, went to Stanford. John Mayberry, and Junior was a guy that played for the Phillies for a while. But John Mayberry had
I was about to
multiple streaks of at least 4 games with 4 straight games with a home run. So.
I was about to ask if it was fruit related.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been. But yeah. So there you go. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back and wrap the show coming up next. All right, wrapping up the show. Thank you to those playing Sports or Leisure, presented by Johnny's Tavern. Handing it over to the program. We will get into the conversation around the Chiefs with the improvement on the different positional spots for them. We didn't get into today. Did not talk much about that. But thank you to Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, Ryan Tracy, RGR, Locked On Chiefs podcast, Kendall Gammon. Go check it out at the KC Ambassadors are having the gala coming up on May 29th with KC Pal, kcpal.org, kcpal.org, benefiting the Police Athletic League. So a really, really cool organization. So go and check that out. Program coming up next right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.